in Somerset so early. It was just getting earlier and earlier and earlier. That's because it's just so dry, and it's incredibly dry. Whereas, God, pretty much everything south of Manchester has just got arid drought conditions, and that's meaning essentially the grains. Ultimately, the problem was this year, about a month before harvest, we didn't have the rainfall to fill out the crop, to fill out the grains, to make them bulky, make them a good crop. And what's happened is they've shriveled up and they've gone what we call pinched, and they've gone shriveled and tiny, not sort of bulky, good grains. And obviously that means your weights are down, your yields are down. It's not as good a crop as what you want. So this is, I mean, the thing is, look, I think farming, you can take a bad year here and there. It's all right. You expect that. It's a gamble at the end of the day. But it's been about, 3 years ago, it was the wettest weather we had on Earth, and that was an awful harvest because it was so wet. Last year, it's sort of same as this year, just so arid, so dry. It was awful. And it's then coupled with wheat prices where cost of production, you're looking at £200 a tonne, but we can only sell wheat £180 a tonne at the minute. So you do the maths, farming's making a loss, especially our arable sector is in pretty dire straits at the minute.
So it's not just about, about dry, dusty grain that doesn't meet the sort of standard that you need to make a profit or to make a decent selling. Because, as you said yourself just 2 years ago, there was too much rain. So what can be done to help farmers?
Oh, well, certainly a government that isn't hostile to us at every turn they can take. That would help. And possibly supermarkets that don't sort of act like some sort of South American drug cartel. It's awful how they treat us. So this is the problem. It's certainly, as I say, the government can be less hostile to us. We could have more environmental schemes to support us, give us a sort of base layer, because food production in this country is so vital. We need to eat 3 times a day. That's a fact. I'd argue, I'm obviously a bit biased, but it's probably the most vital industry in the country because everyone needs to eat, no matter what. And look, if we need that baseline of support, because again, it's really tough in farming at the minute. It's really awful. I would say on a brighter note, you have, it's not my sector, but on the livestock side of things, they've got really astonishing prices at the minute. The beef and sheep prices is through the roof. So it's tricky, but look, I think you sort of just got to, it's a gamble farming. It's pretty awful at the minute, but it'll get through it. I mean, but as I say, there we are. That's farming for you.
Well, it is. I know it's a tough gig. Cameron, appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
What a tough gig.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well done on winning the award this week. I was there.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Very much indeed.
Thank you for knowing. That's great. Yeah, I mean, do you watch Clarkson's Farm?
No.
It's the sheer awfulness of having a crop, very much like he was describing, and you've got grain in your hand, but it doesn't meet the requirements, which is that it has to have a certain level of water in it, and if it doesn't, it becomes unsaleable. So you've done your harvest, you've waited all year, and it isn't good. It isn't good for sale, and it's heartbreaking.
Especially if it is good for sale and they're still making a loss on it, 20 quid a tonne.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is 33 minutes past 6. Time now for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, I'm Reverend Mike, a vicar in the Church of England. One of the most remarkable stories in the life of Jesus is the feeding of the 5,000. In fact, it's so important that all 4 Gospel writers tell it. A huge crowd has gathered in a remote place, and as the evening approaches, everyone is hungry. Jesus then turns to his disciples and says, "You feed them." But how they respond? And it's understandable, because all they have is 5 loaves and 2 fish, a packed lunch for a few, but not dinner for thousands. And I think the reason this resonates with us is that most of us know the feeling. We would love to be useful. We'd love to make a difference. But when we look at our abilities and our resources, we just feel that we don't have enough. I don't have what's needed to do the good that I want. But as that small offering is placed in Jesus' hands, completely insufficient to the task, that is precisely the point. See, when Jesus multiplies it to feed thousands, he's telling us, I know it's not enough, but it's all I need. See, God doesn't wait for us to give him what we don't have. He takes what we do have and he puts it to good use.
Very good, Mike, very good.
OK, still to come, Aidan will have your sport.
Yes, indeed. UEFA rounds on Gianni Infantino and pressure mounts on him to resign. But what happens next for the FIFA president? Find out after the break.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very racy tonight on the
Unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now, today is your final chance to get tickets to join us for a day to celebrate Britain.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
So don't miss out if you want to get involved, because you've only got less than 24 hours now to grab your ticket.
There's a QR code on your screen right now, or if you're listening on the radio, go to gbnews.com/celebrate.
All right, now Aidan's here to tell us all about the world of sport and Mr. Infantino.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I was saying yesterday he'll cling on, but it does look as though pressure's mounting on him now.
I don't think it's that straightforward, actually. And having said that, it's not good for him that the governing bodies in Europe, North and Central America and the Caribbean are all rounding on him. So it looks like a coordinated attack from where I'm standing. I've seen it before on Sepp Blatter 10 years ago. Blatter on that occasion just kept surviving and surviving. In fact, embattled. The word embattled became part of the job description. The question is, what happens next for Gianni Infantino? Well, first of all, he could just resign this week and that would be the end of it. That's what Blatter did eventually in 2015. And there are parallels here, no doubt about it. What was interesting then was that Infantino was one of the ones calling for his departure. And you have to understand that a lot of these regional heads all want Infantino's job. It's a very difficult job to get because there's a framework to get through, there's lots of traffic in front of you, but once you get there, you're almost unassailable. It's come to light in the last 24 hours that he went ahead with these plans to push them through without even telling any members of his board or any members of his council. So he clearly thought he didn't need them. So it's no surprise then that two people alongside him quit. We think there'll be probably more this week. Now, of course, he could resign this week. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, but can they force him out?
They can force him out, but he could wait until March when he stands for re-election. He knows very well that as of next week, when the season gets underway in the Premier League and in all the domestic games or leagues around the world, attention will switch away from the World Cup and sport politics, and we'll be back to mud on boots on the pitch. And I think that's his best chance, I really do. And I think if he gets through to March, it's very rare that a FIFA president doesn't serve the entire 4 terms. It's only happened once in 1993, I think it was, when João Havelange was unseated. And so it's rare, and I think that could be his passport to hanging on. Further to that, the FIFA Council could force an emergency meeting. That requires 19 of the 37 council members to force a motion of no confidence and force an emergency meeting. But even then, he could reject it. He could say, well, you might want me to go, but I'm going to stay. That's what needs looking at here, is the power of that position, because that power of that position is what's key to holding him in place right now, and well, he knows it.
King of football, then.
Well, yeah, he is
King
the
of football,
supreme
yeah.
emperor.
He's the Andy Burnham of football, but in a non-regional sense.
Bigger than that, really. He's the President Trump of football, by the sound of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But look,
But
these guys know how to survive. They know how to ride out a storm.
Of course.
They really, really do. In the best traditions of politics, it's part of the job. And if he gets to March, Chris Scudder will be talking to us next hour. He's an expert on these things. But I think there's a chance he will survive.
That's crazy. That's crazy when you see what he's been up to.
This is interesting. There are doubts within FIFA. Sources in FIFA are briefing international media organisations as of now and saying, we don't think, there are strong doubts that he will that the FIFA Council will even get to 19 names.
Out of 37?
Yep. And if he doesn't get to 19, no meeting even takes place.
Yeah, but they're going to brief against that to put people off, aren't they?
Who? Well, if apparently the majority of people are in favour of getting rid of Infantino, well, the sources inside FIFA, and we don't know who the sources are. They could be people who are hostile to Infantino. It could be people who are in favour. We don't really know. In fact, nobody reveals their sources, so we probably never will know. But it's going to be interesting as it plays out.
Yeah. All right, Aidan, thank you.
Right, brace yourselves, because we're going to be looking through the newspapers in a couple of moments with Steve N, Alan and Nikki Hodgson. First of all, though, here's the forecast for the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there. The hot, sunny and dry theme continues across most of the Mediterranean through the next few days. There will be a few isolated thunderstorms, particularly for Portugal on Monday, but elsewhere across the Mediterranean, barely a cloud in the sky for many coastal regions, and it will feel very hot in that strong August sunshine. Temperatures comfortably into the 30s and approaching 40 degrees Celsius in the hottest spots. The outlook for the rest of the week, well, generally the settled sunny theme continues with temperatures once again in the high 30s for some.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Should James Bond stay white and male?
Yes, I think that's probably the best course of action. If you think about it, Amazon have taken over Bond about a year ago, and they're a big company, aren't they? And this is a risk, isn't it? They don't want to be seen to cast their first James Bond in anything other than the most popular Bond to everybody. So if you're a casting director, like Debbie McWilliams has said, the previous one, I suppose it'd be who would be the most popular? What's the safest thing to do? So I think, in other iterations, there's nothing to say he couldn't be anything other than white, but this is the first one back, so I think it will be the safe thing to do. And it has to be a man. That's non-negotiable. I think audiences would instantly be complaining, and they want as little controversy going into this new film as they can.
The People's Channel. Martin Daubney. Weekdays from 3 p.m.
With the football, a row has erupted. A racism row again, this time at a Kent secondary school after pupils' children were allegedly told to scrub painted England flags from their arms because, you've guessed it, they were deemed as racist. Is this the woke flag monitors simply spoiling everybody's fun?
Now, look, if we are going to police flags, that's clearly a problem. I think there are lots of people who feel negatively towards the England flag because of what it's represented in the past, and that's a real shame. But it's nice to see that new generations, I'm the son of immigrants, and I don't feel that. I haven't inherited that, and that's really positive. Look, so we should be able to, especially during a football match, fly that flag with pride and enjoy it.
I know that part of the world a little bit. I travelled to Broadstairs, Thanet, Sandwich. You see the Union flag, and particularly the England flag, everywhere. Yes. Even under normal circumstances, you see the England flag being proudly flown. So this is completely insane.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
There was a Ryanair flight from Thessaloniki in Greece, and a part of the plane hit the window and pulled it out. And so this man, a 61-year-old Serbian man, was sucked out of the window. And his wife, she says that she was desperately holding onto his legs to keep him inside the plane for 5 minutes. Wow. It was horrendous. Apparently the aircraft did eventually land normally and passengers were safe and a replacement airline was sent. He was taken to hospital with friction burns. It was a part of the propeller had come loose from the engine and it had hit the window, and that's what had taken the window out. So it wasn't as though it was thought to be loose in the first place. But can you imagine?
No.
I mean,
I don't want to.
Unbelievable.
I'm not a good flyer, I have to admit. This terrifies me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, time for the papers with GB News contributor and comedian Steve N. Allen and author and broadcaster Nikki Hodgson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. John Healey is not going to allow supermarkets to rip us off.
Yep, he's making the right sounds. It's what you want to hear from a chancellor, I suppose, because the cost of living, it still hurts, doesn't it? However, picking on the supermarkets is an interesting one. It is kind of the closest we have to perfect competition. Like, of all the markets that are the furthest away from a monopoly that you can get, it's competitive out there. We've got the big supermarkets pushing prices down all the time. So well done for making the threat on something you'll never really have to deliver on.
I was going to say, I'm going to stop aliens from stealing your carrots.
Exactly, yeah. Never need to worry about it. But I tell you what, though, at least we're getting the empty promises in the right direction. I've said this before.
That's really encouraging.
I'd rather have unfunded promises to cut tax rather than unfunded promises to have digital ID. So we're facing the right way, just not moving.
Right. OK.
Well, so nothing changes.
Yeah.
Talking of things which, foodie-wise, Jamie Oliver, I wish he'd keep his mouth shut.
Oh, my goodness.
Because he just keeps bleating on about stuff, and all this healthy food stuff he does. If you watch any of his programmes, his food's about as unhealthy as it gets. More double cream poured into a cheese sandwich.
Yeah, but it's really good and it's ever so tasty.
Well, it might be tasty. Anyway, now he wants to ban chewing gum. Nikki.
Yeah, I'm in picky battles. What do I think about this? How many years has chewing gum been around for? For at least 40. At least since I was little. I mean, he's just saying that, yeah, you can't even take it off. I mean, I've got an element of sympathy for him. He says that, it's a nuisance and you can't even use a jet wash to get it clean, to clean it off, which I agree with, but he's sort of going on about the different colours, the patchwork quilt of chewing gum, He's obviously got too much time on his hands if he's worrying about all the chewing gum lines out, because I don't have time to worry about it.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as it used to be.
That's the thing,
But the thing is, if it does that to pavements, what's it doing to the inside of you?
But you're You spit it out.
Loads of
Don't
people swallow it.
No.
Loads of people swallow it.
It says on the
Yes.
back.
I
You
know
can't
it,
blame
but
them
so
for
what? People don't follow instructions.
No, but like,
It's a small act of rebellion in a otherwise boring day, isn't it?
That's
Swallowing your chewing gum.
the hill you're dying on. No, I'll stick it to the man. I'll swallow the chewing gum. Look, you're right. It's not as bad as it used to be. It used to be terrible, but now you're right. You can't jet wash them. But there's a little steam thing they walk around with. I've seen there's a boat.
That works, does it?
Yeah, and that's
So they
not
can
bad.
get it off with something else.
Yeah, of course they can. I just think Jamie Oliver's hit that age that I went through a while ago of just moaning about it.
We've got past it.
Yeah.
We don't care again now.
Yeah, it wasn't like that in my day.
You sort of have, yeah.
I know.
If I say that.
I know.
Although, to be honest, at my school, chewing gum was banned, and people, because people just stick it under the desk and then it would get on your uniform. And if you were caught with chewing gum, you got suspended straight away. It was really strict.
Oh.
I never did. I was too much of a goody two shoes. Maybe that's why I chew gum now in rebellion.
And swallow the chewing gum.
And swallow it as well.
Yeah, that's a nasty little secret.
You'll be egg-bound.
What are we going to do after that?
What
What are we
should
doing
we
next?
start? Should we have a look at Infantino? Because I just love this.
So I'm not a big football fan, but I do like any stories to do with
politics
this.
of football.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not just politics as well. It's the sleaze. It's the corruption. Who would have thought there'd be a story that would make me shocked at how corrupt FIFA could be? When Sepp Blatter's saying, "Come on, rein it in, mate," it does look. And people have started. Well, countries have been joining me. I don't like football, and 55 nations were saying, "No, we're not getting involved in the World Cup either," joining my side of it. But I was really fascinated to hear that there's a chance he can cling on. Surely he's made such a mess up of this, really being caught with fingers in the till. And there's a chance that even though everyone wants him to go, we might still be getting some Infantino because I guess the World Cup goes off the boil for a while.
Yeah. I honestly have no opinion on this topic because I just don't care enough about football, and I refuse to care more about football because FIFA has so much influence over so many people's lives.
I think
it's
you're
so
right.
bizarre.
If you chose to care about it, it would really be depressing.
Exactly, and it would be very real, so I just tune out this particular story.
There seems to be so much arrogance and far too much money involved.
There's a lot on there.
And masculine bravado on as well. It's just so macho.
Do you care about lion cubs, or Nikki?
Yes, desperately. Who doesn't care about fluffy, furry things?
Tell us about the lion.
There is a really beautiful picture on page 2 of the Telegraph this morning of 3 lion cubs, the first to be born in 11 years, at Blackpool Zoo. It's really nice. It's Blackpool Zoo as well, because you always get London Zoo. But it's nice to see other regional places where they've invested a lot in looking after their big cats. So yeah, 3 little lion cubs have been born, fathered by the last lion who was born at the zoo in 2015. So it's a family of lions.
Why have they had a long time without any lion cubs being born?
It doesn't say. Maybe they just weren't getting on for a long time. I don't know. You can't really.
It sort of suggests that the lions there now at the moment are being looked after properly and healthily, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
there's been a big investment in the zoo. So I know that the zoos are controversial, and modern zookeeping is really about thinking about it in the environment and exactly about conservation. But yeah, it's a nice news story for a change.
It is.
That's lovely.
Well done.
Lovely pictures.
Love it. All right, you two. Thank you. See you
Time
later.
for the Great British Giveaway now. Time is ticking on for your chance to win the 60 grand in tax-free cash and that real gold bar worth about 5 grand. Make sure you don't miss out. Here's how.
Welcome to Orlisanti by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating a golden summer. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of 5-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Do stay with us, because still to come, Westminster has been branded Britain's last alcohol-soaked workplace. So should booze be banned in Parliament? We'll be debating that a bit later on.
It's an interesting one. Sober MPs, would they be good or worse?
Would they be better or worse? I don't know.
Time for the weather for you now. Here's Tom Morgan.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, the heat and humidity is starting to build again over the next 24 hours, but today should be pleasantly warm with some hazy sunshine. Out there this morning, though, it's a fairly chilly start, but temperatures will quickly rise in that strong August sunshine, and there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine through most of the day. So by this afternoon, temperatures will be widely higher compared to yesterday, reaching the mid-20s for many parts of England and Wales, and possibly getting quite close to 30 degrees Celsius in the southeast of England. Eastern coastal counties of England perhaps a tad cooler compared to yesterday, but still a pleasant afternoon with temperatures into the low 20s. Now, northeastern parts of Scotland should have a drier and also less breezy day compared to yesterday, but there'll still be one or two showers for Shetland and Orkney. Into this evening, though, largely dry. A fine end to the day for many other parts of Scotland with some late spells of sunshine too. We'll run into some thicker cloud there across parts of Northern Ireland, and here just a few spots of rain developing through this afternoon and into this evening, and likewise for the Isle of Man and parts of the Irish Sea. We could see one or two spots of rain for Wales, for example, but certainly nothing heavy and fairly trivial amounts. So a fine end to the day and a warm end to the day in more southern parts of the UK. Here we'll see a dry night, generally speaking, with some clearing skies as well. But further outbreaks of rain will gradually push their way northwards into Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go into the early hours of Monday. So a pretty damp start to Monday here. Turning fairly cool in the north of Scotland underneath any clear skies, but many parts of England and Wales having a pretty warm and humid night, so quite uncomfortable for sleeping. But Monday promises to be a much hotter day for England and Wales. Plenty of hazy sunshine here and temperatures into the 30s for some. So a hot day for southeast England with potentially temperatures getting close to 35 degrees. Much cooler, much wetter for Northern Ireland and Scotland, though. Outbreaks of rain or showers and temperatures locally here not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating with an incredible £60,000 to be won. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. Andy Burnham's promise to ease the cost of living is facing a major test.
The Chancellor John Healey has warned supermarkets and fuel retailers not to exploit the Middle East crisis by pushing up prices, because he says families are bracing themselves for higher energy costs.
But economists are warning the government's budget headroom is shrinking. So can Labour keep its promises without raising taxes?
People smugglers are slashing the price of channel crossings to Britain to as little as £500 a journey as they cash in on Europe's migration crisis.
Meanwhile, as this exposes new divisions across the EU, are member states letting Spain down? We'll debate that this morning.
At least 3 people have been killed and 21 injured after a homemade explosive device was detonated at a restaurant in Moscow. That's according to Russian state media reports.
Is it getting too hot to harvest? Well, Britain's summer is taking its toll on our food producers, who say they're struggling with the weather.
UEFA have upped the ante on Gianni Infantino as pressure grows on the FIFA president to resign. UEFA join a list of continental governing bodies to say they've lost confidence in Infantino's leadership. We're joined by Chris Scudder later this hour.
A fine day to come today for most of us, but the heat and humidity bills for tomorrow. Find out just how high temperatures might get and whether you'll see any rain in your full forecast coming up.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. Now, Stephen here is a fan of the hydrangea.
I like a hydrangea, yeah.
And what I find interesting about hydrangeas is you can choose the colour that they bloom in by getting the right chemicals in the soil or whatever.
It's all to do with the acidity, isn't
That's something to do with that. And there's a report out today, which I'm trying to find again in the papers, which says they've been asking gardeners, what are your favourite colours for a garden? And they've found that red is overwhelmingly the colour that people like to have blooming in their garden.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there used to be a real snobbery about yellow. A lot of professional gardeners say, oh, you don't want a yellow plant. I love yellow plants, but that is now number 2.
Oh, I like blue.
Oh, well, there you are. Well, that's why the hydrangeas are suitable for you.
What about a mix?
Oh, yeah, you want
Well,
mix.
of course, a mix, but I think overall, do you not have a favourite colour for flowers in your garden?
I like red.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, yeah, red would be my colour.
Red and yellow. And white would be very posh, wouldn't it?
Is it?
I don't know, a bit
bland, no.
Doom-laden, perhaps.
Depends what else is in your garden.
I like campanula. That's nice, because that just
So there's
spreads everywhere.
there's-
Little small
yes,
blue flowers.
Little blue flowers, that's lovely.
Well, agapanthus are producers saying, but they're expensive agapanthus. They're nice. They are lovely, but they're expensive to buy.
For a few weeks, and then they're gone. They're just a stalk.
Yeah.
So you have to choose carefully. But anyway, let us know
So
what colour in the garden makes you look.
Expensive at the florist, aren't they?
Well, it's very expensive at the moment if you've planted in your garden and now you can't water it very easily.
Yes, it's frustrating.
Yeah. You got a hosepipe ban? I've got a hosepipe ban, have you?
Yeah, we've got water.
Yes. No, in London. In Kent there is one.
Yeah.
In London, I don't think there is.
No, there is.
No,
yeah,
no one's got a garden, have they?
Well, that's true.
Thames Water have done it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough.
Glad you're paying attention.
No?
It just shows that, you're allowed to use grey water, but we don't have houses that are plumbed right to be able to save the grey water easily.
No, because you could flush your toilets with it all and all that sort of thing, though. You have to clean your bowl a bit more regularly. Well, you would, wouldn't it?
Such domestic issues.
Well, it matters. All these things matter. It's all about saving money, so perhaps we should get the Chancellor involved in all of this. He's confirmed he's going to deliver his first budget on October the 28th, and he's promising a plan built on fiscal discipline.
Who's going to show the discipline, though? Is it us or them inside number 10? Anyway, the budget will apparently set out how the government intends to fund Andy Burnham's spending pledges, with questions remaining over whether that's going to mean tax rises, spending cuts, or just more borrowing.
Well, the Chancellor has issued a stark warning to supermarkets saying stop price gouging amid the Iran conflict. Are they doing that? Well, I don't know.
Business groups have already urged ministers to avoid months of damaging speculation, but it's going to happen anyway, isn't it? They are saying that uncertainty could hold back investment and hiring.
Well, let's talk to the Deputy Political Editor at The Spectator, James Heal, who's here. I mean, the problem with all of this is that October the 28th is a long time away. We're still getting plans formulated by this new government. We don't know exactly what it all stands for or how it's going to fund it. This is a long time to wait for that solid plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why we're seeing these kind of cost of living measures that Andy Burnham's trying to do. That's a lot of hand-holding between kind of coming into number 10, putting out this budget at the end of October, and of course unveiling that supposed 10-year plan he's working on as well. So I think that what we're going to see is kind of lots of sort of short-termist approaches over the next few months or so, because as you say, Stephen, there's 3 months and there'll be a lot of speculation, and we know that can damage the economy, as we've seen in the last 2 budgets as well.
There will be speculation, I suppose. Also, John Healey will be trying to make up his mind what to do, and he'll be trying to feel the mood of the country over the next couple of months.
Certainly, and also working within the constraints of the manifesto as well, which obviously ruled out any potential income tax rises. That means that potential for a kind of 50p wealth tax that we had before 2010, that's unlikely to happen. And I think that Andy Burnham will be sort of pressed constantly to give a sort of commentary on what he wants to do. He suggests there could be something around business taxes as well. So that is going to be something that I think sparks a lot of speculation.
Raised or lowered?
Well, potentially raised in terms of...
They can't, but this is wrong, because obviously this is what's killing the economy.
That will be the argument that's made. But, I mean, he will say, look, I've just given 100 million in business rate relief. That means helping business on the high street. I want to go after multinationals, those companies maybe not paying their fair share. I'm sure that the Treasury will try and do every trick in the book to try and raise the money. But I agree, we've got some huge bills, 4.7 billion for defence, 13 billion or so for headroom. We're also expecting to have to do, all the different spending pleasures he's announced on cost of living measures. So he's going to have to find something, a bit like the first budget Rachel Reeves found, which of course had 35 billion, which was the single biggest tax increasing budget since Black Wednesday 1993.
Went down like a lead balloon as well, didn't it? Because it was, we'd been warned from day one of this government that every bit of news they ever uttered was going to be miserable and really upsetting and depressing. And my goodness, did that budget turn out to be?
Yeah, and I think that this is the thing a lot of the Conservative and Reform politicians are talking to me about, which is they wait until their first budget. Yep, fine, he can get through the next couple of weeks, no Parliament sitting, all the sort of happy vibes, etc. But he will run up against the rock of fiscal reality, and on that his government may flounder.
But in terms of that fiscal reality, isn't it about time we had a government that takes a slightly longer view? I mean, you talk about short-term measures, whilst also looking at a 10-year plan. I mean, what is pretty clear from all of this is it's about reducing taxes to stimulate the economy, which means we might not have the money immediately. You take a bit of a hit for 6 to 12 months, but after that, the economy starts to grow.
Yeah, this runs up against the Labour Party's revealed preferences, though, and there's only 3 ways to get money for the government: tax, borrow, or cut. And they are really going to try and find ways to tax more from different people. They can't really borrow much, given how exposed Britain's economy is, one of the G7 sort of outliers. And then in terms of spending more, I mean, that's what I think a lot of them would like to do. But, I think it's going to have to come from redistributing existing government budgets. And unfortunately, what we've seen is the NHS has grown very much over the last 20 years. Labour doesn't want to touch that, while other sort of departments, such as maybe Justice, have suffered real cuts. And you've now got Andy Burnham saying, I think, some of the right moves, which is that, for instance, rapists won't be able to apply for early release. But, of course, that does put pressure on the existing prison service.
Of course, I was going to say, of course, this budget now will come after conference season. We'll get much more an idea of where Andy Burnham is steering things from the conference.
Certainly, and I think that there's a lot of speculation around potentially an early election or earlier than expected election. He will have at that conference the chance to set out his vision, and I think we'll have at that point a real sense of whether we are going to get the kind of long-term thinking that Stephen talks about, whether we are going to see, you know, a full 5-year parliament, 3 more years of Andy Burnham, or whether kind of all the kind of long-term hardship is going to be put aside in order to help a sort of feel-good factor if Burnham is going to go for an earlier than expected election.
DWP. Cutting welfare. I know people are saying, well, he can't do it because of the backbenchers. He's pulled the backbenchers on side, hasn't he? And he's been doing that for a reason. Surely he's... I mean, even the woman who orchestrated the rebellion last time has sort of said, well, I wouldn't do it again now because Andy's in and, you know, he's talked me round and sort of thing. So, actually, he could make substantial changes to welfare and get away with it this time, couldn't he?
That is going to be his hope, and he's brought in new people, such as Annalise Midgley, who is a member of the new intake. Half of the new intake are sort of make up half of all the overall MPs because they were so big last time. And I think that he'll be talking to those new MPs, talking to different people across the party to try and find a solution through this. And I think that Burnham has already shown an awareness of the sensitivities of the Labour Party on this, much greater than Keir Starmer ever did. So that maybe suggests he can get something through. Ultimately, though, it is striking to me that every time the Prime Minister is pressed on this, he sort of shies away and says, well, no one's to blame. Ultimately, if we are going to make big savings, there needs to be some losers from this, and that means taking away some people's benefits.
But surely, the winner has to be defence, doesn't it? It has to be, because John Healey resigned over that and is now the Chancellor. He wouldn't have taken the job, would he, if he wasn't going to get what he wanted?
We very much, I think, hope for John Healey's credibility, and I think in terms of keeping the defence chiefs happy, and because we want to keep Britain's international standing high, that we will get some of that defence spending. But ultimately, there's all these competing demands, and you're also having the biggest devolution of different powers from Whitehall. That's going to require spending, upfront costs, etc. That's something that Burnham is very passionate about as well, and fixing social care. So right now he's building all this big political capital up. He's doing these popular measures. We don't know yet whether he wants to spend that bank of political capital on getting through a difficult first budget, or whether it's something like social care reform.
All right, James. For now, thank you. Right, let's have a look at some other headlines. At 11 minutes past 7, and 3 people have been killed, 21 injured after an explosive device was detonated at a restaurant in Moscow. Russian state media say it was a homemade bomb involving an unnamed woman who apparently smuggled it into the restaurant last night.
The Prince of Wales has paid tribute to the former British Army and Royal Marines soldier and renowned mountaineer Nirmal Pura, who died in an avalanche in Pakistan. It has to be mentioned as well that 9 other people died in the same avalanche. Prince William said that Prince William said that he was truly saddened by Pura's death, praising him for serving with distinction before he became then one of the world's greatest mountaineers.
And Josh Kerr has delighted home crowds in Scotland, claiming gold in the Commonwealth Games. He blazed down the home straight to clinch first place in the men's mile.
Lots of people saying they agree with you, they like blue flowers.
Oh, good.
And lilies seem to be very big at the moment.
Oh, they're lovely. Well, they smell so beautiful.
And a lot of people saying the only way around the hosepipe bans is just to buy more watering cans and keep filling them.
Yeah.
You are allowed to do that.
You can do that. Takes a lot longer.
Takes devotion.
It does take devotion. Yeah, it's worth doing.
Oh, it is.
Now, it has been, I mean, with all this hot weather, quite a summer of sunshine, but behind the scenes, it does create more challenges for the people who grow and supply our food.
And those working across the food industry say they're having to adapt to increasingly extreme conditions.
Well, we sent our reporter, Isabel Fekulak, to Sussex to find out more.
4 heat waves, weeks without meaningful rain. As the UK heads towards one of its hottest summers on record, the pressure is showing here in Sussex, in the fruit growing across these fields.
Well, the impact of the heat is already visible here. This local grower says that if these extreme temperatures continue, this year's harvest may well be smaller in size.
I don't think there's been another period like this in the history. 3 years ago, we had a tremendous heat wave in the middle of harvest. We were unable to get the fruit to cool down quickly enough. The following year we had a very, very light crop, and the same again this year. These excessive temperatures certainly are worrying for growers.
After it leaves the field, the race against the heat continues. At TG Fruits, keeping produce cool through storage and transport has become more challenging than ever. They've been doing this for generations, but this summer is testing them like never before.
It's been very difficult this year because obviously if you think about the product growing in the field, the heat in the field, everything suffers. It's been really, really hard work to work in. It's also affected our trade. Some of the schools closed, so there was an overstock.
And it's not just happening here. Across Europe, growers are battling the same heat. Fruco has imported fresh produce for more than 50 years. They say extreme weather is becoming one of the industry's biggest challenges.
We've seen this for a few years now, that the intense temperatures during the most important part of the year for growing fruit, particularly in Northern Europe. And the consequences are quite severe, because you're talking about temperatures in Spain and in France of mid-40s, which is just far too hot for fruit. I was talking to a grower in France and he was watching the fruit cooking almost on the trees, and it was just soul-destroying.
From local fields to supermarket shelves, the effects of this summer's heat are being felt at every stage. And with hotter summers becoming more common, the challenge of keeping food on our tables is only growing. Isabel Fekulak, GB News, Sussex.
Well, talking of the weather, let's find out how it's going to affect us all locally. Here's Tom Morgan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, the heat and humidity is starting to build again over the next 24 hours, but today should be pleasantly warm with some hazy sunshine. Out there this morning, though, it's a fairly chilly start, but temperatures will quickly rise in that strong August sunshine, and there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine through most of the day. So by this afternoon, temperatures will be widely higher compared to yesterday, reaching the mid-20s for many parts of England and Wales, and possibly getting quite close to 30 degrees Celsius in the southeast of England. Eastern coastal counties of England perhaps a tad cooler compared to yesterday, but still a pleasant afternoon with temperatures into the low 20s. Now, northeastern parts of Scotland should have a drier and also less breezy day compared to yesterday, but there'll still be one or two showers for Shetland and Orkney. Into this evening, though, largely dry. A fine end to the day for many other parts of Scotland with some late spells of sunshine too. We'll run into some thicker cloud there across parts of Northern Ireland, and here just a few spots of rain developing through this afternoon and into this evening, and likewise for the Isle of Man and parts of the Irish Sea. We could see one or two spots of rain for Wales, for example, but certainly nothing heavy and fairly trivial amounts. So a fine end to the day and a warm end to the day in more southern parts of the UK. Here we'll see a dry night, generally speaking, with some clearing skies as well. But further outbreaks of rain will gradually push their way northwards into Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go into the early hours of Monday. So a pretty damp start to Monday here. Turning fairly cool in the north of Scotland underneath any clear skies, but many parts of England and Wales having a pretty warm and humid night, so quite uncomfortable for sleeping. But Monday promises to be a much hotter day for England and Wales. Plenty of hazy sunshine here and temperatures into the 30s for some. So a hot day for southeast England with potentially temperatures getting close to 35 degrees. Much cooler, much wetter for Northern Ireland and Scotland, though. Outbreaks of rain or showers and temperatures locally here not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, still to come, the Spanish migrant crisis is exposing new divisions across the EU, but we're going to be asking, are member states letting Spain down? We'll debate that next.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, it's 21 minutes past 7 and it is your last chance today to get tickets to join us to celebrate Britain.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, if you want to be in on it, don't miss out on the opportunity. You've only got about 24 hours to grab your ticket now. So for more information, scan the QR code that you can see now, or if you're listening on the radio, it's gbnews.com/celebrate.
Now to Spain, because the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has condemned other EU leaders for their response to that migrant surge in Ceuta.
After the mass crossing occurred, 22 EU leaders wrote a letter to the heads of EU institutions asking if Spain could be temporarily excluded from the Schengen area due to border concerns.
Well, Prime Minister Sanchez calling for an emergency meeting to address the leaders' selfish attack on Spain. So we're asking, are EU countries being selfish by wanting to close their borders to Spain?
Well, joining us for this morning's debate, Henry Bolton, who's the international security and border control expert, and author and broadcaster who's with us this morning, Nikki Hodgson. So, first of all, who should we go to first? Nikki, are countries like Italy saying, no, we're not open to this, we don't want to know, are they being selfish?
Yes, they are, because actually what Giorgia Meloni has done is really made a point, a political point for her own ends. It's not, I don't think this is really because she's genuinely afraid that this influx is then going to, incur further influxes and that there are going to be loads of illegal migrants washing up on Italy's shores. It's primarily because she wants to further her far-right agenda about immigration. And, you know, the reality is that the majority of these people have been returned. There's only sort of 2,000 left. It's terrible what's happening with the few that are left on the streets, but the threat is over. And so I just think it's alarmist at this point.
Henry, is it alarmist? I mean, as Nicky says, the vast majority have gone back now.
When 60,000 people crash through your border, it is not alarmist to say that is a problem. And albeit that virtually all have gone back, there are 2,000 to 5,000 who have not, some of whom are unaccounted for. We don't know who those people are. We don't know what sort of threat they constitute. There has been violence on the streets out there. So to say that this is, basically play it down and say this is not a serious instance is just bizarre.
Well, forgive me, Henry. It's not that it's not serious. I mean, clearly it is. But is it serious enough when you're talking 2,000 to 5,000 people to then say we need to suspend Schengen?
No, what is the serious dimension to this is that 60,000 people do not move spontaneously in this way. Some sort of form of orchestration was behind it. Now, part of that might have been organised crime. There are fairly credible stories and reports over many years of Russian intelligence active in Morocco. I'm not saying they're behind this, but I am saying that we don't particularly know at this stage. We don't know whether this will be repeated elsewhere along the North African coast. We just don't know the full picture yet. This has to be investigated properly. The other thing is that the primary responsibility for the governments in Italy and elsewhere is to protect their citizens. It is not to be humanitarian. The first priority is the protection of their own state. And just finally, I would say that you know, the Schengen acquis is one of collaboration and cooperation. When one state is not capable, even temporarily, even momentarily, of fulfilling its obligations in that situation or in a particular situation, it is incumbent upon the others to take measures to protect themselves. So I think this is entirely legitimate. There is not a failure of cooperation or collaboration between the Italians and the Spanish. And the final point is this whole thing about far right. It is, again, it's absolutely a red herring. Absolutely. You could say that those people who advocate for open borders are pursuing a far left agenda and kowtowing to the leftist or immigrant populations. You could say exactly the same thing. The ultimate thing is what is in the interests of public safety in the states concerned. That's priority number one. It's nothing to do with left and right.
Nikki, there's a lot there to address.
There's a lot to address. I mean, part of the problem here is that Spain, by look of the draw, you know, has got 2 North African enclaves, and, you know, Italy doesn't. So part of it is just that if a bunch of countries say we're opting out of Schengen or we want to pause Schengen right now, Spain is going to be left with this problem of dealing with, you know, illegal immigration coming up from sub-Saharan Africa by itself. And the knock-on effect will be, of course, on Europe anyway. Because if Spain struggles to cope with it, say this happens again, and then Spain's left to its own devices and it's struggling to cope with it, and then, you know, it affects its economy, it affects its other relationships with other countries in Europe, we will still pay the price of that demise of that relationship.
But wouldn't that, Nikki, then force Spain to do more? I mean, part of the argument around all of this is the fact that Prime Minister Sanchez has recently sort of had this amnesty for 1 million illegal migrants in Spain, and that's what's prompted all this.
But why I'm just saying that just by geographical dent, Spain is the country that is technically forced to deal with sub-Saharan immigration like this because of where it's positioned.
I need to correct that. I need to correct that. The European Union, through Frontex and member states individually or bilaterally with Spain, have offered Spain assistance. The United Kingdom has offered Spain assistance. Spain is not being left to deal with it on its own. What is happening is there's a sort of cordon sanitaire being put around the problem. Now, the problem has eased. When those measures were taken, the other member states did not know how this was going to play out. So I can expect now, I think we can all expect, an easing of the withdrawal from the tightening up of the border regime on the internal borders of Schengen. I think that's inevitable. So it's absolutely false to say that Spain has been left to deal with this entirely on its own.
I didn't say that, actually. I said if it were to happen again and people were to pause Schengen, then it would be leaving Spain.
Those are hypothetical questions.
But you know, you've just said it's happened, and therefore you're worried about it happening again. So you know, it's obviously a probable hypothetical.
Of course, and that's what's happening is that the member states of the European Union and other countries like ourselves are trying to now take measures to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
But it won't help Spain. It will be leaving Spain with potentially the same problem happen again. If you were Sub-Saharan Africa, Morocco, or another country, you would want to have it happen again, wouldn't you? Because then you see Spain as weakened and not supported by other European member states. It would be the perfect opportunity.
That's the most appalling thing to say, that I want to see this happen again.
No, I said if you were people that were trying to get immigrants through, wouldn't you seize the opportunity of a weakened Spain? Not you, Sub-Saharan African countries.
We're trying to strengthen Spain. We're trying to look. The European Union is mobilising everything it can to secure its southern flank. I've been saying for several years that Spain's southern flank is not being protected adequately. This proves my point. And the idea is to get ahead of the game, identify the threat before it actually becomes a practical problem, and take measures to negate and reduce that threat, to mitigate it, and then you don't have these problems.
But you don't strengthen Spain by abandoning it. You don't strengthen Spain by abandoning it to solve the problem itself.
Tell me in what way we've abandoned Spain.
The threat of closing Schengen is an abandonment, in my opinion.
Well, in your opinion, but certainly not, probably in the Spanish opinion, this is a cordon sanitaire.
Well, it is the Spanish opinion, because this is exactly what the Prime Minister has said himself, that it's selfish.
They've been abandoned.
They're selfish, polarising and unlawful.
Well, they're certainly not unlawful. I held the portfolio for civilian border management for the European Union's common security and defence policy for 3 years. I can tell you, absolutely, this is not unlawful. This is entirely accommodated within the Schengen acquis as a temporary measure until such time as everybody can understand what is actually going on, what the dynamics of the situation are. These are very reasonable operations that the Spanish and others are undertaking, particularly the Italians, and as I say, the European Union is offering Spain significant support to deal with this problem. And you said earlier that it wasn't really a problem. They've gone back. Most of them have gone back. Well, it's either a problem or it isn't. And it is a problem, in my view, and measures being taken to protect the people of the European Union and European continent accordingly, and entirely legitimately and legally. That's my view.
All right, Henry, Nikki, thank you both very much indeed. Good to see you.
Thank you. And that just shows how difficult the whole problem is, to most people at least. Right, do stay with us. Still to come, Aidan will be with us with the sport.
Yeah, UEFA rounds on Gianni Infantino and pressure mounts on him to resign. But what happens next for the FIFA president? Find out after the break with Chris Scudder.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello, every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Aidan's here with the sport.
One place to start.
Yeah.
Same place we started yesterday and the day before. Gianni Infantino.
Yeah.
Is he going to survive? You don't.
No, I think it's toast.
You think he's toast? Yeah. What about
Toast.
you? Just from not your knowledge of
No,
football
I
here,
thought
but
he
just-
would cling on, but I didn't realise how much pressure is now being mounted from all areas.
Yes. And they're pressing for a full review as well. It's a motion of no confidence. But you know what? I just think he's got it in him to hang on. That's almost going to become the story, isn't it? Whether this bloke has it within him to be so powerful to hang on to his job.
Well, he's got it in him to place himself in this position. He's clearly, dare I say, arrogant.
Yes.
Very, very rich.
Yeah.
And incredibly powerful.
He wants to be richer.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't he just?
He could have a passport for that. Do that, sorry. Anyway, let's speak to Chris Scudder, who knows about these things. Chris, very good morning to you. Are we seeing the end for the current UEFA president, Gianni Infantino?
Yeah, he's a bit of a Teflon Don, isn't he? I tend to agree with you, Aidan. I'm not sure, really, that he won't resign. Pretty sure he's not going to resign. Not going to be forced to resign. He's been very proud of what this World Cup achieved, but he just bit off more than he could chew. And that arrogance, really, of thinking that being seduced by money and power could well be his downfall. Listen, what we've got here this morning is a fight, a split, a civil war within FIFA. You've got Europe, you've got CONCACAF, which is Central America, and Mexico, USA, and Asia, who are all against Infantino now. And against that, you've got support from South America, from Oceania, and from Africa, and interesting from Qatar as well. So there are those, the smaller nations, who want him to survive because they are fed by him, and he's promised them riches for the future. But it's deep politics now, and Infantino knows he is fighting for his football political life. It's as simple as that. He did say in his statement yesterday that he's going to bring all interested parties together in the coming days and weeks. That's him saying, I'm not going to resign. But, there's a great will now, I think, certainly from UEFA, to bring this man down. And that would be sensational news, wouldn't it?
How hard is he going to fight to cling on, Chris? Because I have a theory that he could get to March, and then if he gets past that kind of bump in the road, he could see a path to survival.
Yeah, I mean, March was when he's got 4 terms. He's done 3. The 4th will be starting then and go right through until after the next World Cup, which of course he would love. He would love to be involved with. I think the general feeling is that if he gets to March, he will survive. It's the coming days and weeks where he's got to navigate his way through this huge row within his ranks. The last time that a sitting FIFA president was removed was actually an Englishman, Sir Stanley Rouse, back in 1974. This is pre-Sepp Blatter, pre-João Havelange, both of whom were mired in controversy during their time. But yeah, I think if it gets to March and he has this vote, because of what I said previously, he does promise the smaller nations, the member associations, funds which they rely on. I think he'll survive. But, this is going to be massive intrigue now, and UEFA right at the forefront of trying to get rid of him with a vote of no confidence.
The thing is, though, Chris, I mean, you've been there before with Blatter. We were there, 10 years ago. These guys know if nothing else, how to ride out a storm. I mean, my theory is that he knows very well that the Premier League starts in a couple of weeks. All the domestic leagues around Europe and elsewhere are underway. The emphasis switches from what happens at FIFA to mud on boots on the pitch. If he rides that out, I think that, again, he could see a path to survival.
Yeah, waiting for summer. August is a very quiet news month, isn't it, Charlie?
I know. This is the thing, Chris. This is any other time of year. This is a back page story, but because Parliament's in recess, because the World Cup's over, we're seeing it on the front page.
It is, yeah. I think the other thing we got to look at, Aidan, is who's going to replace him. You can't just have a void. There was a lot of theory that the president of Paris Saint-Germain, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, would be a good choice, but apparently he doesn't want it. And interesting yesterday that the Qatar put a statement out in support of Infantino. So I think that's out the window. Who else could it be? I mentioned UEFA. Obviously, Alexander Seferin and Infantino are poles apart and do not like each other and haven't, because they have differing rival agendas really in the football calendar. But possibly the president of CONCACAF, a chap called Victor Montagliani, who's the former president of Canada Soccer, who came out in support of UEFA's protest very quickly. He's a possible replacement, as is Sheikh Salman bin Ebrahim Al Khalifa, who's the president of the Asian Confederation, who also are against the proposals that Infantino came out with the other day about this sell-off of its assets. So there are potential men in place. But what we're going to have now, I think, is if UEFA are to get this vote of no confidence, they need 20% of the members to bring out a thing called, or trigger a thing called, an extraordinary congress. 20% is not many, and 55 UEFA members is already enough for that. If that happens, then we would get a vote over a vote of no confidence. Then it would simply be who gets to 106 votes. Does he stay, or is he removed? I still think that might be difficult, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to resign. So it's a power struggle now, and UEFA will be doing all they can to bring all the rest of the world into their sphere of thinking that Infantino does not deserve another term of office.
Chris, just one word, please, and your final answer. Does he survive beyond the end of the week?
I think he does.
That was about 4 words, but never mind. That's fine. That's fine. Let's leave it there. Chris, it's great to hear from you this morning.
He won't resign. I'm pretty sure he won't resign.
OK, cool. See you soon. So,
yeah.
Chris Scudder, look, I don't know if he's going to survive or not, but, you're veterans of political coverage. This is like being a sports reporter these days.
It's like being political correspondent.
It is. We used to talk about balls going into the net.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. The politics has become
overtaken it, corporate governance, etc.
All right, Aidan, thanks very much indeed.
Do stay with us, because we're going to be looking through the papers in a couple of moments with Stephen Allen and Nikki Hodgson. First of all, though, here is the European forecast.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there. The hot, sunny and dry theme continues across most of the Mediterranean through the next few days. There will be a few isolated thunderstorms, particularly for Portugal on Monday, but elsewhere across the Mediterranean, barely a cloud in the sky for many coastal regions, and it will feel very hot in that strong August sunshine. Temperatures comfortably into the 30s and approaching 40 degrees Celsius in the hottest spots. The outlook for the rest of the week, well, generally the settled sunny theme continues with temperatures once again in the high 30s for some.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Let's talk now to showbiz journalist Nelson Aspen and former US House advisor Lee Cohen about this conversation. Good evening, gentlemen. Nelson, let me start with you. What has Oprah been criticised for here? Because a lot of people have taken a shot at her watching this. interaction.
That's right. Oprah is worth well over $3 billion. She does not need to present a retrospective of her greatest moments, but she is obviously desperate to stay relevant. And in this 1.5 hour special, the Harry and Meghan interview comes in at about 15 minutes. And it was obvious that she needs to backpedal. It is obvious that it was the greatest softball display of favoritism in broadcast history, almost.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Temperatures are set to soar again next week as heat health alerts remain in place across large parts of England. So my favourite meteorologist to talk to ever in life is John Ketley. John, good to see you. Looking very suntanned and gorgeous, it has to be said, in matching pink. John, we've got another heat wave on the way.
Surprise, surprise.
Hey, it's summer.
Yeah, it seems to have been a very prolonged summer this year, didn't it? Obviously, it started early. We started with that very hot weather in May, which is unusual. And then we had further hot weather during June and again in July as well. So it seems a little bit different this year. It's been going on for so long. It's almost as if we've been really, the tentacles of Europe have been extending across the UK, and we've turned into a continental regime, really.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's just a fact of life. You know, I'm of the generation, my grandfathers and great uncles all fought in World War II, but my children, you know, that's not a memory for them. They never met anyone who was in the Holocaust, and we have short memories. We're the TikTok generation. We have, you know, 5 seconds worth of attention we put on anything. So I think it's a good step. UNESCO's had some scandals in the past, or at least they've chosen to recognize things that perhaps I don't think are all that significant, but the D-Day beaches I visited myself a few years back, they're very well preserved, by the way, so I'm not sure how much this adds in terms of resources or what it can really do to increase young people's knowledge of history, but it can't be a bad thing, can it?
I mean, it's an amazing story all around, and it's a story that deserves to be told over and over and over again.
GB News, the People's Channel.
And they'll come the newspaper front pages, first of all, and we'll start with the Sunday Times, which reports Farage struck a deal to return as leader long before election.
Mail on Sunday says a migrant gasping for life, a Spanish exclave gripped by fear. If only the non-border utopians were with me now.
And then on to the Sunday Telegraph. Chancellor John Healey claims he will not allow supermarkets to rip us off.
And the Sun on Sunday, a model reveals she was dumped by Gladiator Giant because she had an OnlyFans account or some such thing.
OK, fair enough. Yeah. Let's see how they get on with that. Comedian Steve N. Allen and, of course, GB News regular, and Nikki Hodgson, author and broadcaster, join us now. So what we're going to start with, Steve, British workers will be poorer by an average $2,500 a year because of the impact of immigration.
So this is stats that they've looked at from the Office of Budget Responsibility and some Bank of England numbers in there. The Tories have crunched the numbers and worked out, because of wage suppression by the businesses can opt for cheaper labour, that's how much will be poorer.
That's a lot of money.
It is, isn't it? I don't feel like I can be $2,500 poorer every year, but it looks like they're doing it. Although there is something that strikes me as cheeky about this, because it's the Tories that have run the numbers to try and, you know, pick the side of the battle they're on. But it's not like they've not benefited from that over the last decades of having lower wages because of migration, therefore business doing well out of it. In the battle of capital versus labour, capital did really well out of lower wages. So now maybe they've changed the side of the argument that they're on, or maybe they realise this is the side optically you wish to be seen.
Is this sort of lies and damn statistics?
It has to be. I just find it beggars belief that the Tories would allow wages to be suppressed for so long, and now we're saying, oh, and by the way, Labour are leaving you to do this. I mean, it's just, it's load of rubbish if you ask me.
What I don't understand is why we have, oddly, if I was in central London on Friday, I had to go in after work, and I walked past a row of resting workmen on the street, and they were all talking a language that wasn't English. I mean, I don't know, Eastern European probably. But it was, I just thought, why none of these workmen, there's about 20 of them, none of them British?
Yeah.
I think particularly in the capital, you had an influx of like Polish workmen, and they tend to work with friends and hire friends, right? So I think that's why that has become a thing. I mean, I still see lots of British workmen. If you get on the tube very early, you see everybody in their overalls coming to work.
Just really struck me just as I walked past a great long row of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they don't speak English, they do.
No,
amongst themselves.
Exactly.
But it's just like, you know, it's like we've got an unemployment problem in this country. And it just seems, well, why are we not employing British people?
We have, but then job vacancies are down. I think job vacancies are down to 750,000 from over 1 million just a couple of years ago. So allegedly.
It also comes down to skills and qualifications and things, isn't it? If you sit out of certain industries for a decade or so, you then don't have people who can do it. So you end up
and that's what's happened in some of the areas,
Nikki, in the Sunday Telegraph, paramedics are responding to mental health emergencies a lot more than they used to.
Yeah, twice as many as 3 years ago in London. I mean, that really is a huge surge, isn't it? This doesn't surprise me as somebody that works a lot on mental health stories and, someone that's had their own struggles, and I write and speak about that a lot. I think, actually, it's increasingly common for someone to ring 999, first 111, and then potentially 999 if they're having a mental health emergency. Lots of people that are thinking about ending their lives end up doing that. And the reason they do is because, the day-to-day services are not there. The therapy is not there. The community mental health teams are absolutely struggling, completely overwhelmed. And then they're being pushed down the funnel to the point of calling 111 or 999.
Or their friends and families are.
Absolutely. And you can't blame them. And I've done it once. I've had to call them, and they were absolutely incredible with me. But they don't have the resources or the training 9 times out of 10 to deal with them. It's like we knew we had this problem. We could see it coming, and all we did was push it down the funnel. And then these are the people struggling to care. And these are caring people. They want to do a good job, but they are completely overwhelmed. And also, trust me, if you're having a mental health crisis, the last place you want to be is A&E. At 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning. That is the last place you want to be. It doesn't work for anybody.
Is police are called out to mental health crises?
Absolutely, all the time. Police are amazing, actually.
And you can argue it's not their job.
No.
But whose job is it?
It's everyone's job, I suppose. It's society's job. We've all got to be better equipped to help people who are struggling with mental health. But we also need the funding. We need the money in the right places to help train staff. So, it's sad, but not surprising.
I don't know whether to be disturbed by this or not in the Sunday Telegraph, Steve. Reform UK saying they wouldn't allow student loans for woke degrees.
Yeah.
I understand where they're coming from this. What worries me is then it's in effect a government deciding what degrees you can study.
Well, it's not stopping you from studying it. It's saying that...
You've got to have the capital to do it.
Yes. Although I think there's something in this. I think a lot of it, again, they've correctly identified the problem. Their solution might be slightly off. By calling it the woke studies, there are loads of degrees that are pointless. Why are we actually using the structure of the nation to fund people spending 3 years, now getting into debt, to do film studies? Last time I checked, you are allowed to go to the cinema even if you're not qualified. So that's a waste of a degree.
But you can even argue that for English literature degree.
Right.
I mean,
you can, yeah.
Or Latin.
Yes.
Definitely you can.
Although, that's so interesting because at the moment, teacher training in the UK, if you've got Latin, I've got Latin GCSE, not A-level, but if you have any Latin skills at all, they will pay for you to become a teacher and give you a bursary because they're so desperate for Latin teachers.
I think
I'm just saying, it's like we've got it all back to front.
But instead of saying you only get loans for the non-woke degrees, I've always thought there are certain degrees that actually we should go back to the old system. Do you know what? If you're going to go and study physics or invent some sort of computery thing, the kind of stuff that we used to be cutting edge of, making the Raspberry Pi computer, we should be up on that, leading those cutting edges. We should actually not be requiring people to get 50 grand in debt to go and study a proper degree that's going to be really useful for the nation. So I agree with the problem they've identified.
But it's also all to do with the graduate, because there are loads of people that studied brilliantly useful degrees and they don't do anything good with it, and vice versa. It's a lot about the person.
Yeah.
So how do you decide that? You can't. Then it really is fascist.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
joke. All right, you
debating
two.
Again. Stop it.
See you later.
Time for the Great British Giveaway now. Time's ticking on for your chance to win 60 grand in tax-free cash and that gold bar. Here's how.
One person is guaranteed to win over £65,000 worth of gold and cash. And that person could be you.
You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner and join our exclusive list of giveaway champions.
First of all, we want to give you a ton of tax-free cash.
£60,000 in tax-free cash that you could use however you like. Treat your family, treat your friends,
or treat yourself to a luxury 5-star holiday somewhere like here, all as Santi by Domes Resorts.
Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
We're still debating. Do hang around, because still to come, Westminster has been branded Britain's last alcohol-soaked workplace. So should we ban booze in Parliament? Big question. Very controversial.
Before all that, though, here's the weather with Tom.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, the heat and humidity is starting to build again over the next 24 hours, but today should be pleasantly warm with some hazy sunshine. Out there this morning, though, it's a fairly chilly start, but temperatures will quickly rise in that strong August sunshine, and there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine through most of the day. So by this afternoon, temperatures will be widely higher compared to yesterday, reaching the mid-20s for many parts of England and Wales, and possibly getting quite close to 30 degrees Celsius in the southeast of England. Eastern coastal counties of England perhaps a tad cooler compared to yesterday, but still a pleasant afternoon with temperatures into the low 20s. Now, northeastern parts of Scotland should have a drier and also less breezy day compared to yesterday, but there'll still be 1 or 2 showers for Shetland and Orkney into this evening, though largely dry. A fine end to the day for many other parts of Scotland with some late spells of sunshine too. We'll run into some thicker cloud though across parts of Northern Ireland, and here just a few spots of rain developing through this afternoon and into this evening, and likewise for the Isle of Man and parts of the Irish Sea. We could see 1 or 2 spots of rain for Wales, for example, but certainly nothing heavy and fairly trivial amounts. So a fine end to the day and a warm end to the day in more southern parts of the UK. Here we'll see a dry night, generally speaking, with some clearing skies as well. But further outbreaks of rain will gradually push their way northwards into Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go into the early hours of Monday. So a pretty damp start to Monday here. Turning fairly cool in the north of Scotland underneath any clear skies, but many parts of England and Wales having a pretty warm and humid night, so quite uncomfortable for sleeping. But Monday promises to be a much hotter day for England and Wales. Plenty of hazy sunshine here and temperatures into the 30s for some. So a hot day for southeast England with potentially temperatures getting close to 35 degrees. Much cooler, much wetter for Northern Ireland and Scotland, though. Outbreaks of rain or showers and temperatures locally here not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. 1 entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
isn't it? No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Andy Burnham's promise to ease the cost of living is facing a major test.
The Chancellor, John Healey, has warned supermarkets and fuel retailers not to exploit the Middle East crisis by pushing up prices as families brace themselves for higher energy costs.
But with economists warning the government's budget headroom is shrinking, can Labour keep its promises without raising taxes?
People smugglers are slashing the price of channel crossings to Britain to as little as £500 a journey as they cash in on Europe's migration crisis.
At least 3 are dead, 21 injured after an explosive device was detonated in a restaurant in Moscow.
And Westminster has been branded Britain's last alcohol-soaked workplace. So should MPs ban booze in Parliament? We'll be debating that in just a few moments.
Also, Britain's summer is taking its toll on our food producers who say they're having to adapt to increasingly extreme weather.
UEFA have upped the ante on Gianni Infantino as pressure grows on the FIFA president to resign. UEFA join a list of continental governing bodies to say they have no confidence in Infantino's leadership. Join me for more later this hour.
A fine day to come today for most of us, but the heat and humidity bills for tomorrow. Find out just how high temperatures might get and whether you'll see any rain in your full forecast coming up.
Just gone 8 o'clock, I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Right, let's crack on with the news from number 11, where Chancellor John Healey has confirmed he will deliver his first budget on October the 28th, promising to build on what he calls fiscal discipline.
The budget is expected to set out how the government is going to fund Andy Burnham's spending pledges, with questions remaining over whether that's going to mean tax rises, spending cuts or more borrowing.
Meanwhile, the Chancellor has issued a warning to supermarkets. I don't know if they are price gouging, but he's urged them to stop if they're using the Iran conflict as an excuse.
Business groups have urged ministers to avoid months of damaging speculation, saying that uncertainty could hold back investment and hiring.
Let's talk to the Deputy Political Editor of The Spectator, James Heal. I mean, in terms of speculation, we can't avoid it at the minute, can we?
No.
We're not getting a budget, so no clear fiscal direction from this government for another 3 months. It's a long time to wait.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that does show just what a precarious fiscal position we are all in. You know, I was talking to someone from formerly in Number 10 the other day who was suggesting that the UK is actually a kind of model case which the banking institutions might want to make an example out of. You know, we are a big economy, top 5, 6 in the world, but we're not a reserve currency. We have lots of debt leveraged, and I think that we've now got the gilt yields more than 5%. We potentially might want to be made an example out of, and I think that does speak to the difficult decisions John Healey and Andy Burnham are going to have to be making. And sadly for them, they may want to do all these sort of wonderful things in terms of remaking the politics, but until they get the economics right, they won't be able to do any of that.
So this fiscal discipline is going to happen in late October. That means we've still, and then of course just before that there will be conference season, and just before that is the summer. So we're just going to hear a lot of sort of feel-good speeches, do you think, from Andy Burnham over the summer, and we won't get an idea of his real solid mission until we hear him speak it from the platform at conference, and then John Healey will then come out with what he really intends to do.
I think
it's a long time for us to wait, isn't it?
I think that, yes, and I think that that does reflect the timeline that we're in, which is that Andy Burnham, of course, and his team wanted to be given the reins of executive office in September rather than July. They didn't have the fully fleshed out plan they claimed they wanted and needed to have. And I do think what we're seeing right now is a kind of day-to-day measures which are being announced on different policies such as education, defence, bit of cost of living. And I think that that does show as a sort of hand-holding exercise up until we get to that conference season, September, October, when maybe all these different strands will be sort of stitched together to give the big picture and big vision.
I wonder how much of this is strategic. Maybe it's just me being a cynical old hack.
Never.
But I don't know. But the idea that Andy Burnham is saying lots of nice stuff now. At conference, the conference is going to be raucous, isn't it? It's going to be euphoric for Labour this time round, much more than we've seen over the past couple of years. Get absolutely everybody on side. And then you have a budget saying things like, we're going to cut the welfare bill.
That's going to be the big moment, isn't it? Because we've seen Andy Burnham's come in. There seems to be a bit of a Burnham bounce, sort of 5, 6 polls. As John Curtis says, it's not that great, but it is real.
Yeah.
And I think that that very much has put the spirit back in the Labour hopes. Of course, they've just won the Greater Manchester mayoralty on Friday, and I think they're feeling very optimistic. As you say, Stephen, is, you know, this has been a Prime Minister who very much has the Labour Party at the heart of his governing philosophy. What happens when that runs up against the rock of fiscal reality? And I don't quite know yet. There'll be, presumably, in that budget, some things that keep Labour happy. There'll be some rebalancing of priorities. But I would make the point that whereas some political priorities, such as maybe dropping jury trials or scrapping digital ID, that can be quite a quick fix, as it were. So if you go on political priorities, the economics are much harder to shift, and it's a much more long-term approach, taking years rather than months if you want to turn this government and the country's finances around.
I mean, they've used this phrase, fiscal discipline. What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, same of the old, really.
Well, yes.
More of the same. It basically means the exact same thing Rachel Reeves was saying. I mean, he has to come out and say fiscal discipline. It means nothing in one sense, because it just means that, you know, we have to abide by economic reality. Rachel Reeves was saying the same thing, the Tories would have said the same, and it reflects the fact that, unfortunately, there is no money left, and what does a Labour government do when there's not much money to spend?
Well, it's strategy, isn't it? I mean, this fiscal responsibility that Rachel Reeves had, but actually the budget seemed to damage the economy, damage businesses. Well, if they can use fiscal, whatever this term is, and actually do things, they could still do things completely differently under the same umbrella, couldn't they?
Well, they could, but then, I mean, we're seeing today, you know, we're 2 weeks into this new government, and we're seeing op-eds from the Chancellor saying he wants to stop supermarket price gouging. There's no evidence of this. Rachel Reeves was saying the exact same thing. I'm not aware of any cases of it, and actually supermarkets, to give them their due, have some of the lowest price margins, most competitive pricing, and a meal deal is cheaper than it was 10 years ago. So I think of all the different issues facing this country, supermarkets would not probably be in the top 100.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's made that a priority in this latest speech or announcement. The thing we all want to know, I think, because of the way he resigned over defence not getting enough money to defend the country properly, we're expecting and hoping, surely, and trusting that he will not have taken the job were it not for him to at least be able to get a certain amount of money
absolutely
for defence.
Absolutely, and I think that, you know, John Healey's kind of authority in the political markets, the political stakes will be much reduced if he doesn't get some kind of settlement. We saw this week Andy Burnham was out at Baron Finesse. We've seen John Healey very much keen to talk about the defence potentially being some way to reindustrialise parts of the economy, rather than having some northern towns, for instance, on welfare. Why not have a defence base such as Baron Finesse, which can provide local employment and kind of be a sustainable way for those towns to thrive for the next few decades or so? The problem is twofold, one of which is getting the money in this budget settlement, and second of all, getting a long-term strategy. And since the Cold War, we've cut back our defence, so how are we going to actually kind of build back on this stuff? Right now, Andy Burnham is simply announcing old money. The Keir Starmer stuff was planned from the AUKUS time. I think that it's going to be one of many competing priorities for John Healey, and right now he's just trying to get his feet under the table and sort of work out the defence spending end from the Treasury side rather than the MOD, which he's had for several years.
Yeah, I mean, it's this feet under the table.
Yeah.
Right, which is fair enough if you were starting a new government after a general election. You give them a bit of time to settle in. We're mid-term. We're running out of time.
I know, but we've changed captain mid-term, haven't we? You know, the sort of cat's been thrown overboard and a new one's put on the top deck. And I think that does show that things were going very badly wrong under Keir Starmer. I take your point, but I think in that kind of vacuum, when we are changing mid-parliament, it's going to be the officials that really make a lot of the decisions, and John Healey will need to quickly stamp his authority on it when Parliament returns.
All right, James, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, it'll make conference season rather interesting, won't it? Right, let's move on. 9 minutes now past 8 to one of the most talked about stories of the last 48 hours, and it's people smuggling gangs. Because apparently the latest news is that the gangs that organise channel crossings to Britain are organising a cut for the ticket, down to as low as about £500, I think. Why one would have an effect on the other, not quite sure.
No, are they trying to cash in on the latest migration crisis? I don't know. I mean, this Ceuta situation this week, 60,000 people crossed over into Ceuta, that Spanish exclave. Now, they've all but about 2,000 to 5,000 have gone back now. They have been sent back, despite this sort of claims initially that they wouldn't be able to. They have gone back to Morocco, but nevertheless, it means it's changing the how people smugglers across the Channel seem to be viewing things somewhat.
Yes, they're just looking at money, I suppose, but also numbers. Prime Minister Andy Burnham has offered support to Spain, but with gangs looking to exploit this chaos, is Britain now facing renewed pressure on its own borders, on our borders?
Well, let's talk to Krish Kandaya from the Sanctuary Foundation. Good to see you, Krish, as always. Where does this leave the situation we are in as a country? Because we are at crisis point already with small boat crossings, aren't we? Is this going to make things worse?
I'm not sure it's going to make things worse, Stephen. The situation in Ceuta had three factors that made it very special. Number one, desperate people fleeing wars in places like Eritrea and Sudan, as well as those that wanted to move for economic reasons. Second were viral videos that were put out by people smugglers to try and get people to come to Ceuta to make that crossing. It reminded me of when I help out at the Reading Festival and they announce a new stage has been opened up with a secret gig. Suddenly, thousands of young people running to get there. And then third, there do seem to have been some geopolitical issues between Morocco and Spain over a recent visit that the Spanish Prime Minister made to Algeria, which is a bit of a kind of dispute between Morocco and Algeria. So I think there were very specific issues there. And as you say, the vast majority of people were returned within 24 hours. So I'm not sure it has extra pressure here, but I think we're all agreed people smugglers are only in it for the money. They don't care about refugees or asylum seekers. They're just trying to cash in, and maybe, just maybe, this will give them greater ambition. But I don't think Ceuta is a specific challenge for the UK.
No, it's a very, very different situation, isn't it? But a lot of the migrants in Ceuta now being returned have said, reportedly, that they believed a different story. They believed that Spain would welcome them with open arms, and they were sort of very disillusioned to find that that wasn't so. Why doesn't that put off people wanting to cross the English Channel?
That's a good point, Anne. I would say they were fed misinformation online, and as you say, when they arrived in Ceuta and there was nothing there, no help, no support, they quickly returned. I think misinformation is one of the reasons that people have been trying to cross the channel. Been sold misinformation. That seems to have stopped. So there's a bit of a kind of information war online that we need to fight, as well as trying to stop those smugglers have those small boat crossings.
But that's a very clear argument, isn't it, for a very clear message that any government in the UK could put out there, which is, unless you're coming here through legitimate channels, you are not welcome.
I think you're right. Legitimate channels are the key here. There are very few legitimate channels for people to come through. So if you're Ukrainian, yes, it used to be if you're Afghan, you could come, or maybe if you're from Hong Kong. But if you're from these countries that are the countries that are coming to the UK, Sudan, Eritrea, Afghanistan, there's very few options for you. And I think that's where the government's proposal for a safe and legal route called named community sponsorship could really help. That if there is a genuine route that you can apply for in your own country, you can know in advance whether you're going to be refused in the UK or not. That will really help. But I'm up for it.
Forgive me, Krish, but you're absolutely right on that. But the other side of that coin, if you like, is you have to say, if you do not follow these procedures, then you are not going to be able to stay.
I think eventually that is where we want to be at the moment, because there are no other safe and legal routes. People have a right to claim asylum. Our asylum system is slow and broken. If there was a quick response, it could be, if you're from a particular country, then we have an instant returns deal. If there's no war going on, for example, there wouldn't be a reason for you to be fleeing war to come to the UK. So I do think there are some options in front of us, but there's a chink of hope with named community sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, you just wonder whether we shouldn't be counteracting the sort of propaganda that clearly migrants are getting on their TikTok or whatever, and actually putting that message out there that, contrary to what you're being told, and it has to be done in the same fashion, doesn't it? It has to be TikTok videos and things that they will see to actually tell them that you're not welcome.
You're right. The social media is the place to be having a lot of these conversations. We had quite a successful campaign with Albanians a few years ago. You might remember they were the top group that were coming. And then in cooperation with the Albanian government, social media was put out there, but also a very quick returns process. So I think, Anne, that's a really good suggestion.
All right. Krish Kandai, good to see you as always. Thanks very much indeed.
Right. At 8:15, let's have a look at some of the other stories coming into the newsroom this morning.
3 people have been killed, 21 injured after a bomb exploded at a restaurant in Moscow. Russian state media say it was homemade and detonated by an unnamed woman who smuggled it into the restaurant.
The Prince of Wales has paid tribute to former British Army and Royal Marines soldier and renowned mountaineer Nemal Purja, who died in an avalanche in Pakistan. Prince William said he was really saddened by Purja's death, praising him for serving with distinction before becoming one of the world's greatest mountaineers.
And Josh Kerr has delighted home crowds in Scotland, claiming gold in the Commonwealth Games. He blazed down the home straight to clinch first place in the men's mile.
And Sopranos star Vincent Pastore has died at the age of 80, according to US media reports. The actor, whose portrayal of Salvatore Big Pussy Bonpensiero won him acclaim. He died sadly at his home in New York.
Right, let's have a look at the weather for you with Tom.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, the heat and humidity is starting to build again over the next 24 hours, but today should be pleasantly warm with some hazy sunshine. Out there this morning, though, it's a fairly chilly start, but temperatures will quickly rise in that strong August sunshine, and there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine through most of the day. So by this afternoon, temperatures will be widely higher compared to yesterday, reaching the mid-20s. for many parts of England and Wales, and possibly getting quite close to 30 degrees Celsius in the southeast of England. Eastern coastal counties of England perhaps a tad cooler compared to yesterday, but still a pleasant afternoon with temperatures into the low 20s. Now, northeastern parts of Scotland should have a drier and also less breezy day compared to yesterday, but there'll still be 1 or 2 showers for Shetland and Orkney into this evening, though largely dry. A fine end to the day for many other parts of Scotland with some late spells of sunshine too. We'll run into some thicker cloud though across parts of Northern Ireland, and here just a few spots of rain developing through this afternoon and into this evening, and likewise for the Isle of Man and parts of the Irish Sea. We could see 1 or 2 spots of rain for Wales, for example, but certainly nothing heavy and fairly trivial amounts. So a fine end to the day and a warm end to the day in more southern parts of the UK. Here we'll see a dry night, generally speaking, with some clearing skies as well. But further outbreaks of rain will gradually push their way northwards into Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go into the early hours of Monday. So a pretty damp start to Monday here. Turning fairly cool in the north of Scotland underneath any clear skies, but many parts of England and Wales having a pretty warm and humid night, so quite uncomfortable for sleeping. But Monday promises to be a much hotter day for England and Wales. Plenty of hazy sunshine here and temperatures into the 30s for some. So a hot day for southeast England with potentially temperatures getting close to 35 degrees. Much cooler, much wetter for Northern Ireland and Scotland though. Outbreaks of rain or showers and temperatures locally here not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Still to come, should we ban alcohol in Westminster? Too many MPs getting a little the worse for wear? We'll be debating that next.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Now it's your final day today if you want to get tickets to join us for a day to celebrate Britain.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, that's the way to do it. You've got to scan the QR code you just saw there on the screen, or if you're listening on the radio, go to gbnews.com/celebrate.
Now, there are concerns about alcohol-soaked culture in Parliament. If you've ever been, you know it is a reality.
Well, have you seen some people worse for wear?
Yeah, loads of them, frankly.
I know it's nice to go for lunch there or be invited for drinks, but I've never seen anyone the worse for wear.
Sloshed, yeah.
You have to hang around for a bit, do you?
Yeah.
But apparently MPs are offering drinks, or they're being offered drinks from midday onwards, and that has reportedly led to a string of incidents.
So we're asking this morning, is it time to ban alcohol in Westminster?
Well, we're joined by former MP Neil Parish and author and broadcaster Emma Wolfe. Emma, should we ban alcohol for these MPs who just can't control themselves?
Yeah, we absolutely should, Anne. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Look, I'm not a Puritan. I'm not anti-alcohol. Alcohol is a lovely social lubricant. It's lovely for dinner. It's lovely for a date. It's lovely for weddings or a party. But it's not appropriate for work, not in the 21st century. There's no other modern workplace. You know, think if you're a doctor or a nurse or a bus driver or a shop worker or a lawyer or a teacher. No other modern workplace has drinking as part of their daily culture. It's not appropriate. The fact that MPs are on site quite late, you know, that they're voting late some evenings and all of that, they work long hours. Firstly, they're paid for that. Secondly, that's even more reason, to my mind, that's even more reason not to have alcohol as any part of the proceedings. We have 8 or 9 main bars in the Houses of Parliament, many more across the parliamentary estate where you can get alcohol, restaurants, cafes, whatever. This is subsidised by the taxpayer and it's not appropriate. And we do see people, we know that alcohol impairs concentration, it impairs judgment, and it's not appropriate when people are thinking and voting, passing laws on very, very important subjects.
It's a fair point, that, Neil, isn't it?
Well, I think you probably ought to have asked Winston Churchill that, wouldn't you? I think he probably spent most of his life drinking. But to be serious, I think the problem with the House of Commons is you do actually need to get everybody together. Now, I would accept that drinking too early in the day and lunch times, perhaps that should be taken off the menu. But in the evenings, I think it's a good idea that members of Parliament can get together, because I lived through the COVID time in Parliament, and we just, all the new boys and girls that came in the new Parliament, we just did not to get together for about a couple of years, really, and because we were all isolated. And the House of Commons works well because you do get together. Now, yes, there will be individuals that drink too much, and I don't condone that for one moment. But I mean, what we used to do, to be honest with you, and I think all parties do this, if we saw 1 or 2 of our members that were drinking too much, we usually said something to the whips, and most of them, were more sensible. But I think the idea that because you've got 1 or 2 that perhaps drink too much, then you ban it for all, I think it's wrong. Also, very often you have guests in the evening, sometimes when you're there, they also like to have a drink. So I think, there does have to be a social side to Parliament, and it is also part of the business. Now, I accept that too much drinking and drinking to excess is wrong, but I think to ban it is just going too far. I think possibly looking at some of the hours of which they serve alcohol may be, a halfway house, basically.
So it's part of how it works, Emma. It's not your normal workplace. I mean, that is a fair point, isn't it? It's not like working in your bog standard office.
No, it's not. But Stephen, even in your bog standard office, I mean, when I first started working way back in publishing, going out for a drink, going to the pub was absolutely part of the working day. Very quickly, and afternoons were a write-off. Afternoons were a write-off, and inappropriate things were done and said, and even one drink, two drinks. And I'm not a Puritan. Everybody likes to have a drink if they drink, and of course it's a real pleasure. But it's not appropriate as part of a working environment. And why should alcohol be needed to get people together? That's what I'm not clear why Neil is saying that. We know that even one or two drinks immediately impairs judgment and concentration. That's why we barely allow drinking and driving. Why would you then go in and vote? Why would you then go into a committee or into a meeting and discuss things which are really, really important and have a bearing? MPs are paid by the taxpayer to do their job. They're paid well to work long hours. I get that. But they don't start at the crack of dawn. They do work later into the night. That doesn't mean that alcohol should be part of the mix.
No, I mean, Neil, if you want to meet with people or if you want to drink, there are plenty of pubs nearby and clubs and restaurants. You don't need it actually inside the workplace, do you?
Well, I think you do, you see, because in the House of Commons, naturally, the bell rings and you need to go and vote. And so it's quite dangerous, actually, to leave the House of Commons on many occasions.
Well, so you couldn't... come on, Neil. So, I mean, what, to say that you need to dash from the bar to go and vote? You shouldn't be in the bar in the first place, then, should you?
Stumble from the bar.
I think that you should be there actually joining and meeting together and talking, because you do actually need in Parliament to get together and discuss things. All right, some of it may be gossip, some of it is good politics, and some of it is about getting to know each other. And like I said, I would be the first to accept too much drinking is wrong, but I think to have no alcohol in the House of Commons, I think would be going too far. Like I said, I think some restrictions probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but the idea of taking away all alcohol, and especially when you have guests very often in the evening, then I think that would be wrong.
OK, you two. Good to get your views. Thank you very much indeed.
It's interesting. I mean, I know Neil did it humorously, but invoking the idea of Churchill. It just shows that was in the days when Westminster was an old boys' club, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was. And I have to say, I mean, I totally get what Neil is saying. I understand that. But having spent a lot of years in Westminster over the past few decades, the amount of drinking, the amount of drunks, frankly, in Westminster it's frightening at times. And I've never been into an MP's office yet where there aren't crates of champagne packed against the walls for some party that they're throwing.
Yes, it always is. It's always very jovial place. One of my first flats that I ever rented in London was over a restaurant that's really, really near, and that had a division bell in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And so you'd be eating in the restaurant, the bell would go off, and then suddenly everybody would disappear from their tables, disappear for about 5 minutes, come back and just pick up where they left off.
And they all get a message. You don't need to actually hear that. They all get a message. Even on the days when it was all Blackberries, everyone's Blackberry used to go off, say it's time to vote. Not there listening to the debates, just going to vote.
Rather than ban the drinking inset, maybe just charge them realistic prices. Instead, because we subsidise them, So maybe just charge them realistic prices. That might have an effect.
Maybe. Well, a parliamentary spokesperson said everyone working there had been reminded to use alcohol responsibly, but hinted that immediate changes were unlikely. Any changes, they say, to Parliament's provision of alcohol would ultimately be a matter for members to decide on. Well, they're not going to do that, are they? No. The estate is a unique working environment that includes public access and events. Parliamentary Behaviour Code makes clear that everyone should be treated with respect at all times, and those who choose to drink on the estate must do so responsibly.
Yes, well, that's what they would say, isn't it? Is it enough, though? Right, do stay with us. Still to come, Aidan has your sport.
Absolutely, UEFA rounds on Gianni Infantino and pressure mounts on him to resign. But what happens next for the FIFA president? Find out after the break.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is-
You're
the failure is-
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
To all of you who voted for GB News to win at the Trick Awards for the 4th year in a row.
The winner is GB News.
Thank you so much for voting for us. It's because of you that we're so proud to be the People's Channel, and it's because of you that we are Britain's news channel.
It's voted for the people who watch us.
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers.
Thank you.
Aidan's here with all the sport at 8:35. You've come complete with props.
I'll explain that in a moment. There is a story behind this.
OK.
But let me take you through the serious business of Gianni Infantino. First of all, he is one embattled individual. It goes with the territory when you are the president of FIFA. But now, as Anne said in the last hour and the hour before that, it's different when everyone is closing on you, everyone's rounding on you. It's a coordinated attack. You have to remember that most of these regional continental football heads want his job, partly because, as you've seen, you can do pretty much what you want. But when they're calling for a case review, a full review rather, into his conduct, into the direction he's taking the organisation, you sense that the end is nigh. I don't think it's quite as simple as that. I think that he knows full well that a week or two from now, we're not going to be talking about this. The Premier League will be underway. The domestic leagues around Europe and beyond are underway. The emphasis will switch from football governance to the far more interesting spectre of
Football
balls
itself.
going into the net, mud on boots, bloke scores goal, that kind of stuff. That's what they're interested in, and I think he's got it within him to ride this out, even though lots of people want him to go now. But I think it's a story of its time. I think that with the World Cup just finished, I think that he knows if he can just get past this next month or so, next few weeks, I think he'll be through. Just as Sepp Blatter did, Stephen, back in 2015. He was constantly having.
But he left in absolute disgrace.
Yes, he did. And I think that it could happen again. But if he gets to these next elections in March, then even if the FIFA Council tries to force his hand, he can still say no. And that tells us that in future we have to look at the framework, the apparatus around him, the checks and balances on his power, because it turned out yesterday those two guys close to him who left and just walked away from the problem, they didn't even know about these proposals. And that may be part of the reason why no one else knew about these proposals. You don't even know if they're good or not. And football just dismissed them. So there's two sides to every story. If you can get to March, as Chris Scudder said last hour, it's very rare that a FIFA president doesn't see the entire term through. I wouldn't back against him just yet, although he's got a big week to come.
Yeah, OK, fair enough. Go on then, talk us through this.
Well, yesterday,
why have we got a football and a shirt?
Well, a football and a shirt, I'll come to that in a moment. You're trying to hurry me on, aren't you?
I know, yeah, because I want to know. It's
all right. Listen, we're trying.
The suspense is killing me.
I'm involved in a campaign alongside the Labour MP Fleur Anderson in Putney to try and save the Park Tavern pub in Southfields near Wimbledon. We had I took out the match sponsorship yesterday at Wimbledon v QPR in the friendly, and I gave it over to the campaign, and we saw a massive uptick in petitions for the signature. We are now more confident than ever that we will save the Park Tavern. Pubs have had a horrific run of it in the last couple of years, haven't they, with everything that they've had against them.
Good.
And we're hoping we can keep it open. But that wasn't the end of the fun. We also, as part of the match sponsorship, my nephew Rory, 10 years old, he was the mascot yesterday. I think we've got some footage of him leading the team out. And there he is, coming out with the team there, and you can just spot him there. And he's in the lilac shirt. What do you think of the lilac away kit?
I quite like it. Yeah. It's nice. I like a bit of purple.
Well, one of the privileges is that you get to walk out to the centre circle and put the ball right on the spot, ready to be kicked off. And you can just see them doing that now.
Was he absolutely thrilled?
He was absolutely thrilled. He's a little bit nervous beforehand. But the QPR fans and the QPR players and the AFC Wimbledon players were absolutely outstanding with him yesterday. Big thanks to Andrew Stead at AFC Wimbledon. He was absolutely remarkable, and his team, he made the day very special for him.
Lovely.
And then we got some stills here. There he is, coming out with the team. Ronnie Edwards there on the right, £4 million signing last year from Southampton. That's the money shot that they all get with the ball before kick-off.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the lilac looks good there in the sunshine, doesn't it?
Oh, good on him. It's lovely.
Really good. And that wasn't the end of the fun, because I even got a match-worn shirt from one of the players. Oh. Escudinha, fresh with sweat.
Oh, no.
Smell that.
Don't chuck it at me.
Heck, it does actually. It smells a bit left field. That.
It does. He's 20 years old. He's got a big future. So if you're lucky enough to get one of those, I haven't decided.
Do you keep the sweat on it then?
Yeah,
is that
it's
part
authentic.
of the?
It's authentic. And do you know what? This is a replica of the match ball signed by the QPR team. I'll hold it up there as well. Do you know why these plinths are removable?
No.
Because after a month, the balls go flat.
Oh,
so you need to pump it up again.
Oh.
And would you like a hold of that?
Is it sweaty?
No, it's not.
No, that's
it's not.
It's brand new.
No,
Can
I
you smell
don't
it
want
from
to
here?
smell it. No.
Sorry, Escudinha, you've had a bit of a sweaty match.
Yeah, get it right. I thought you knew about football.
Look, he might be a very nice young man.
Yeah,
sure he is.
To smell his sweat.
I feel like I need a wash.
Well, we had a wonderful day yesterday. It could not have gone better. We got some wonderful photos as souvenirs.
How do you say it? They're removable?
No. The plinth is removable.
Oh, that stops it happening.
No. This keeps it in place. So
then you have to take it off and pump it up
If it's on your mantelpiece and the ball goes flat, then you can take this off and pump it up.
Oh,
it's amazing, really. Balls being pumped up.
Yeah.
Have a feel of that, Stephen.
There you go. I haven't held a football in a very long time.
So the idea is that those squiggles that you should.
So what are you going to do with these things?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh.
I might just be greedy and selfish and keep it on my mantelpiece.
Well, I know.
But no, I've got someone earmarked for this.
That one time that I boast about where I interviewed Pele, Jimmy Greaves,
here we go.
and George Best all in one morning, we got them to sign a football. And I gave it to charity. And I think now...
No, stupid.
And you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Should have kept it. I tell you what I like, though, is it's a real sign of football and the community.
Yeah, without doubt.
All that. And that's really nice.
Community masses.
Yeah,
It really does,
brilliant stuff.
And I'm
Good man.
and I make dreams come true.
Do you, Aidan?
It should go on the bar in the pub.
Sorry?
It should go on the bar in the pub.
That's the... Don't give them ideas. They're watching.
No, all right. No. Park Tavern. Yeah, we'll keep it going. All right, Aidan, thank you very much indeed.
See you this weekend.
Yeah.
Our little social campaigner there in the corner doing a good job.
Yeah. OK, stick around, please, because Stephen Allen and Nikki Hodgson are here looking through the newspapers. Right now, though, let's get the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hi there. The hot, sunny and dry theme continues across most of the Mediterranean through the next few days. There will be a few isolated thunderstorms, particularly for Portugal on Monday, but elsewhere across the Mediterranean, barely a cloud in the sky for many coastal regions, and it will feel very hot in that strong August sunshine. Temperatures comfortably into the 30s and approaching 40 degrees Celsius in the hottest spots. The outlook for the rest of the week, well, generally the settled, sunny theme continues with temperatures once again in the high 30s for some.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, Charlie, as most of the viewers know, I would be involved in agriculture. This isn't quite agriculture. It's quite close to it, the cousins of. A lot of things that go on in agriculture are on display here. Thousands of people coming to this site, Ragley Hall, just about 45 minutes out of Birmingham.
We are the modern ruralists, and here today we have the craft yard. We've got 9 different crafts, all demonstrating what they're up to. Here we have the wheelwrights, and they're bonding a wheel here. So this is an ancient craft that's been going for about. Barney Murray's a bit of a legend, quite frankly. He's the national champion, master dry stone waller, comes from North Wales, and he's a bit of a Thor lookalike. So he's quite popular.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, at 16 minutes past 8, the annual bike ride from Yorkshire to London is taking place today, aiming to honour the legacy of the Batley and Spen Labour MP Joe Cox, who was murdered by a far-right terrorist in June of 2016.
Well, the bike ride aims to champion a cause she was passionate about, as this year marks the 10th anniversary of her tragic death.
Kim, if we can just start with you, what is your sister's legacy?
Well, there's so much that we've got to be proud of that's been done in Joe's name. It's just been 10 years since she was murdered, and what has kept us going as a family has been the way that so many amazing people, including people like this amazing man, have done things in Joe's name to show what our country is really about. And you've got all these amazing people today from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, celebrating the things that we have in common, not agreeing on everything.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
It's a difficult question. Honestly, I don't think I would at this rate, because I think the government tracks, when we say we're fighting for Britain, what are we actually fighting for? The concept of Britain, I don't think exists anymore. When I look at Britain, when I go outside, it doesn't seem to be very British. And I think the core demographic of the people who would normally fight, these white working class boys who, you know, have been fighting for Britain, who we expect just to sacrifice their life in a fight, you know, they've been demonised for decades and decades by the government, by our education system, by the media. Economically, they've been disadvantaged. So why would we expect them to risk their lives when we've demonised them for so long and took them for granted for so long? And this concept of Britain fighting for the British government, you know, the British government has betrayed us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, we're going through the papers with GB News contributor and comedian Stephen Allen and Nikki Hodgson. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Still, I'll put that on my posters.
Well, you can do.
Technically call me a comedian.
You can do.
You'll have to do the same to Nikki and say author and broadcaster.
I think he has done that to me before.
I probably have at some point in the past. You know I'm a bit cheeky. Steve, let's start with the Sunday Times. Not all AI will be brilliant.
Yeah, this is according to our AI minister, Karishka Narayan. And here's the thing, AI minister he's the minister for AI. He's not AI, but at some point it will be, do you know what I mean? Well, this is kind of what this story is about. And I know it feels a bit dry bringing all these techie nerdy ones, even though I love talking about it. But every time we have any story about people not working enough or for whatever reason there being issues to do with the economy, I just see this thing coming down the track. It won't be long until maybe it won't be a question of why do young people not have jobs. There might not be jobs. And our Minister for AI has actually said it won't all be brilliant. He's talking about the fact that this is a bit of a shadow. This, the spectre of what AI is going to do. He's making some good decisions, in my opinion. He's saying that we need to get our own data centres on this because we're never going to be great with manufacturing. Yeah, we've done financial services as a nation, but what we should be is leading the tech. But instead, we're going, let all the data centres be in America or deep sea from China. You know what I mean? Whenever we're behind, we just end up going to be some third-rate country on these issues that will be potentially the entire economy of the globe might be AI at some point. We should be involved.
But we do have an AI ethics committee, don't we? It's actually headed up by a friend of mine, I have to say that, Professor Kate Devlin, who's an academic at King's, and it's really establishing what the impact of AI will be on humans. And I think that's valuable and that's brilliant, but you never hear about it.
No.
What we can do is think about impact. That is something we are good at in this country. We've got the brains.
We need an ethics person to actually make sure that we're not being impacted negatively. But we need, hopefully, this new AI minister to make sure that we're leading.
But the problem is, though, it's about it getting out of our control. We've already had this one bit of AI that was supposedly in a sandbox, which is a secure thing, but it broke out and went breaking into other bits of AI.
There's two now. So it was the first story was an OpenAI one, like a GPT-based one. Anthropic have had the same thing happen. So now it'll just snowball.
Well, in a few words, what is that? What's happened?
So there's...
you know whether to be worried
like
or not.
a chatbot with an agent so it can do things. They were testing to see its ability to hack, and it can.
And they can go rogue off script.
It went rogue.
Yeah, it went rogue, basically.
It went rogue.
It's doing what we tell it to do.
I mean, it is something from a sci-fi movie.
Oh, Lord.
Basically.
And they say they managed to contain it, but they wouldn't they? Because if they've not,
they'd have to say that. They're entities now.
Yeah.
And
so
it might not be life forms, but definitely entities.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords. Just they spare me.
Get that on the record. Get that on the poster. That's what you need to do. Then you'll be all right. Nikki, can we have a look at Suter?
Yes. Let's. Well, it's on the front page of the Times this morning, if you've seen it. Very, very upsetting pictures this morning from some of the people that are left that attempted to make this crossing. Some of, we know 67 people have died at least, and people are left there now without water and food. It's fast becoming a humanitarian crisis. It's important. I know how people feel about this swathe of immigrants and the threat to a bunch of things in the EU, but it is important to remember the human aspect of these are actual real human beings that were missold, a promise of a different life, and now they're suffering.
But we don't know that in every case. I mean, to be fair, I get what you're saying, but we do not know that a lot of these weren't just young men thinking, I can go over there and make more money.
But Stephen, why would they try it if they didn't think that? What else is the...
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they were missold it. It means they've just misunderstood it. Or, I mean, I get that some of them will have been missold.
Well, we don't know. We don't actually know exactly what they've been told, do we? We don't know if it was a campaign to put pressure on the Spanish government. We don't know if it was traffickers themselves spreading a rumour to sell passages. We don't actually know that.
It caused this enormous surge, whatever it was.
It's caused this enormous surge,
All of
and
those people.
Humans are suffering on the streets as a result of it. And I just think it's important to kind of remember that throughout this story.
Yes, they're suffering on the streets, but also the locals there who've had their shops raided, who have their whole environment completely catastrophised.
And they're a tiny population by comparison.
It's affected everybody, so this is why somebody's got to do something about this.
Yeah, somebody does. Yeah. And I don't know will these people have to be returned and helped? That's all you can do right now, but I just think it's important to remember the human beings.
Okay. But you also take the lesson that this is what happens when a rumour spreads or a rumour is pushed around. Look, people, for whatever reason, you can debate the reasons for doing it, are willing to make journeys. And I think you can understand the worry of every nation in Europe. This is effectively saying, if you're on an island and a rumour spreads that if people arrive via the water, they won't be deported, what will it be like? Well, I think we can sympathise, we can empathise with that right now. We know what it feels
can.
Yeah. Should we take us back to the Middle Ages, would you, Steve?
Yes. I'm not that old. I've aged a bit, but young people are into it. The British medieval festivals are doing really well. And it's difficult to understand why, but it's the simpler time thing, isn't it? So we're seeing great numbers of people turning up to do some reenacting. I remember when you could mock people for being a reenactor. But there is something enjoyably cute about it, non-tech about it, as much as I think we should be embracing the tech.
But fantasy films and television programmes are massively popular now. I mean, everything from Game of Thrones to House of the Dragon.
Absolutely.
And
they're often set in or around that period, whether it's fictitious or otherwise. There's also the rise of something called bardcore, if you know what that is.
Bardcore?
Bardcore is popular songs played in a medieval way with medieval instruments, and these are all over the internet. I mean, I think a lot of them are probably AI and computer generated, but they're extremely funny, some of them, you know. Think of like a very famous Taylor Swift song but done bardcore. Some of them are very amusing.
I wouldn't mind getting dressed up. I mean, some of the outfits look
I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
being the mother of dragons.
Absolutely. The headdress is nice. You'd look very fetching in a padded jerkin or something. I think you could pull that off.
I've got that. Well, all I can say is thank you both for being here. Hey, nonny nonny.
And thank you for jousting.
Yes. Right.
Mentally so, anyway.
Time for... Oh, go on.
No.
I haven't done one yet, have I?
Oh, no, you're...
Time for the Great British Giveaway. I want my turn on this, frankly, because it's £60,000 in tax-free cash and a solid gold bar. Here's how you take part.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating a golden summer. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Ron, Glenn, it's tax-free cash. Tax-free cash. Are you messaging in? It's cash.
But I'm asking, is it too hot to harvest? Well, we'll be answering that in just a couple of moments. First of all, here's the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, the heat and humidity is starting to build again over the next 24 hours, but today should be pleasantly warm with some hazy sunshine. Out there this morning, though, it's a fairly chilly start, but temperatures will quickly rise in that strong August sunshine, and there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine through most of the day. So by this afternoon, temperatures will be widely higher compared to yesterday, reaching the mid-20s for many parts of England and Wales, and possibly getting quite close to 30 degrees Celsius in the southeast of England. Eastern coastal counties of England perhaps a tad cooler compared to yesterday, but still a pleasant afternoon with temperatures into the low 20s. Now, northeastern parts of Scotland should have a drier and also less breezy day compared to yesterday, but there'll still be 1 or 2 showers for Shetland and Orkney into this evening, though largely dry. A fine end to the day for many other parts of Scotland with some late spells of sunshine too. We'll run into some thicker cloud there across parts of Northern Ireland, and here just a few spots of rain developing through this afternoon and into this evening, and likewise for the Isle of Man and parts of the Irish Sea. We could see 1 or 2 spots of rain for Wales, for example, but certainly nothing heavy and fairly trivial amounts. So a fine end to the day and a warm end to the day in more southern parts of the UK. Here we'll see a dry night, generally speaking, with some clearing skies as well. But further outbreaks of rain will gradually push their way northwards into Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go into the early hours of Monday. So a pretty damp start to Monday here. Turning fairly cool in the north of Scotland underneath any clear skies, but many parts of England and Wales having a pretty warm and humid night, so quite uncomfortable for sleeping. But Monday promises to be a much hotter day for England and Wales. Plenty of hazy sunshine here and temperatures into the 30s for some. So a hot day for southeast England with potentially temperatures getting close to 35 degrees. Much cooler, much wetter for Northern Ireland and Scotland, though. Outbreaks of rain or showers and temperatures locally here not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Welcome to Orlisanti by Domes Resorts, where we're celebrating with an incredible £60,000 to be won. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. Don't miss your chance to win over £65,000 worth of prizes.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Andy Burnham's promise to ease the cost of living is facing its first major test.
Chancellor John Healey has warned supermarkets and fuel retailers not to exploit the Middle East crisis by pushing up prices as families brace for higher energy costs.
But economists are warning the government's budget headroom is already shrinking. So can Labour keep its promises without raising taxes?
People smugglers are apparently slashing the price of channel crossings to Britain to as little as £500 as they cash in on Europe's migration crisis.
Buenos dias from Ceuta. Yes, there's day 3 of that EU incursion on the borders here, and things are getting very desperate for those that are determined to stay. Shops are running low on goods, and immigrants are determined to stay here, avoiding the police and security services. We'll have more throughout the programme.
At least 3 people are killed, 21 injured after a bomb detonated in a restaurant in Moscow.
And is it simply too hot to harvest? Britain's summer is taking its toll on the nation's food producers, who say they're having to adapt to increasingly extreme weather.
A fine day to come today for most of us, but the heat and humidity bills for tomorrow. Find out just how high temperatures might get and whether you'll see any rain in your full forecast coming up.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
We're all looking at the fiscal situation that this country faces and wondering what they're going to do about it, this new government. But we've got to wait, really, because we've heard from the Chancellor, John Healey, that the first budget, his first budget, will be on October the 28th. Well, that's months away, but he has said he's going to build on fiscal discipline.
But what does that mean? Well, the budget is expected to set out how the government intends to fund Andy Burnham's spending pledges, with questions, of course, remaining over whether that's going to mean tax rises, spending cuts or more borrowing.
Meanwhile, the Chancellor has issued a warning to supermarkets saying stop price gouging amid the Iran conflict.
Business groups, meanwhile, have urged ministers to avoid months of damaging speculation. They say uncertainty could hold back investment and hiring.
Let's talk to political commentator Benedict Spence. Benedict, morning to you. I mean, the problem is, until October the 28th, speculation is pretty much all we get.
Yes, that's right. And we've actually seen, of course, ahead of previous budgets, haven't we, how damaging that can be. I mean, we saw it with Rachel Reeves, how frequently different ideas would be sort of spun and put out and dropped in through the media to sort of gauge public reaction. And actually, it ended up doing, I think, quite a lot of damage. And much as anything else, I think a lot of politicians, a lot of backbenchers were also pretty displeased at the way in which that was gone. But now what we have is, as you say, that sort of long stretch of time in which, in fact, we're all going to just be sat here wondering what it might be, and there's going to be a lot of things that change in the meantime. And you've touched upon what John Healey has been saying earlier today, which is, of course, trying to tell supermarkets that they can't stop, in his words, price gouging, because that's going to affect consumers. An awful lot of things can happen between now and what is effectively the end of October, so the start of the autumn. A lot of things can happen between now and then that are beyond the control of supermarkets that may force them to put up prices. So, it's already some awkward battle lines being drawn there.
Yes, it's going to be an interesting summer, I guess, isn't it? Because, as you say, I mean, anything could happen weather-wise, which will directly affect our food production. But also, we simply aren't going to hear very much from our new Prime Minister or Chancellor until, I guess, the Labour Party conference.
Well, exactly. And I mean, you're right to point out that the weather is going to have a massive impact on this. I mean, certainly for food production in this country, it is already having a massive impact. And we will feel that down the line, probably, ironically, around about the end of October, start of November, you'll start to feel even more of a pinch in your pocket. The Iran situation, obviously, we all know that's going to have an impact. But China, this is a very sort of key point. China has effectively exhausted much of its strategic oil reserve, so it will be buying more oil on the open market. That is going to affect prices, whether British consumers like it or not. That's the second biggest player in the world right there, going, all right, we're going to have to start spending some cash and hoovering up resources. So that's two massive, massive things that are going to impact British farmers. That means British supermarkets. That means British consumers. And that is, I'm afraid, as much as it must be said, Andy Burnham has made a decent fist of trying to sound positive, unlike Sir Keir Starmer at the start of his administration. Burnham is trying to come out with things that make people feel a little bit more upbeat, just on a really fundamental level. You can tell people, oh, I'm cutting this tax here, or I'm not putting up this tax here. People feel the difference in their pocket. And the first thing that they feel is their energy bills and their food bills. So those are going to be the things that go up the most.
Yeah, and with all of this, there's also all this talk about, I mean, there's talk of a better quality of living, or trying to work towards that, but then immediately, on the other hand, this death tax to pay for social care. Now, the problem with all this is, again, we don't know enough detail, and so all it does is affect consumer confidence, which is really bad for the economy.
Well, exactly. And we saw, of course, what previous governments' efforts to play for social care have done for their popularity. Now, of course, Andy Burnham is not currently he's not in the throes of a general election, unlike Theresa May, but we all know actually what that did for her when she tried to come up with a solution to the issue, the overhanging issue of social care, what that did for her popularity. Now, right now, Burnham is enjoying a bit of a bounce, and there have been some suggestions that he might consider a general election based on, therefore, how badly reform and the Greens are doing relative to how well he's doing. But I imagine that would put paid to any idea of him doing such a thing, and that would lock him in for the 2.5 years, 3 years left of this cycle. The question, of course, is then, if you're not going to be, putting up taxes, how else is it that you're going to have to pay for it? And of course, we've already had earlier this week, John Healey, it's been leaked, going to the different departments and saying, listen, there's not going to be any more money for you. You are going to have to find savings somewhere. But I doubt that there will be enough savings to be found to fund social care, plus, of course, the increases that he wanted to make when he was Defence Secretary to the armed forces and the budgets there. So one does worry, is it going to be this death tax? Is it going to be an increase on income tax? There will have to be a tax rise somewhere, and I think the British public right now feel rather overtaxed for what they're getting for their money.
OK, Benedict, thank you.
Thank you. Now, a bit later on, Camilla is away, so Emily Carver is going to bring us the programme at 9:23. No, it's 30, isn't it?
9:30.
So it's when we say goodbye, it's 9:23. Here's Emily. What's on, Emily?
9:23. Exactly. Yes, stay tuned from then, of course. I'll be on instead of Camilla. I believe she is having a lovely time sunning herself in Europe. But yes, interesting what you've been talking about there. It's quite gloomy messaging, isn't it, from the new Chancellor? Andy Burnham has sort of tried to hit the ground running with all of these feel-good policies over the summer, the VAT cut on electricity bills, the £2 bus fare cap, the cut on business rates for pubs. But John Healey there bringing us down to earth, crashing down to earth, that the cost of living crisis may well get worse. And I think this is interesting because Andy Burnham, yes, it's been a beautiful summer, lots of warm weather across the country. We've had the World Cup. It's the summer holidays. People might be feeling quite good at the moment. Come the autumn, could things change in the run-up to that October budget? Could we be left with very little fiscal headroom for the Chancellor to play with? And actually, it could be tax rises heading our way. We shall see. We're going to be talking to Labour, of course, about what we've seen over on the Spanish territory of Ceuta and what this means for Britain. You've seen Spain essentially deport huge numbers, tens of thousands of illegal migrants from their territory. Why can't Britain do the same when it comes to our crisis in the Channel? I'll put that to our Labour representative. We've also got a Conservative on today who's very interested in the High Court's decision to clear the way, essentially, for children as young as 11 to take part in this controversial puberty blocker trial. Now, it is worth noting that all of this stuff was very much going on under the Conservatives, so perhaps I'll put their record to her. And we'll have a representative from Reform UK as well, Andrew Rosendale. I want to ask him about Zach Polanski. Were the Reform UK right to go to the police over a T-shirt, over an Instagram post?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, of course, there's all this campaigning against people being prosecuted for what goes on Twitter or Instagram and hurty words and all the rest of it, and yet they're quite willing to go to the police when someone does it about them.
Well, yes, I think what they're trying to do is reveal what they say are double standards when it comes to the policing of speech online. But has it backfired slightly? We know in the opinion polls, Reform have taken a bit of a hit while Andy Burnham has had his bounce. But as I said before, how long is that bounce going to last when we get into the autumn? The weather starts getting cold. People's energy bills are going up again as they use more electricity and more gas. The questions are going to keep coming, and it's not going to be so summer-like, perhaps, when it comes to policy as well.
Plenty to get your teeth into, then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see you at 9:30.
Right, talking of, as Emily was, about that situation in Ceuta, the Spanish exclave. What is the situation there today? We know the vast majority of people have been sent back to Morocco, but it has left a few thousand, and that's enough to make a significant impact. Doogie Beattie is there for us. What is happening with those people who remain, Doogie?
Well, they're trying to be eked out from every corner of Ceuta because really they have no money, no local currency. Shops won't take their money, and to be honest about it, the day before yesterday, how the Spanish dealt with it was they closed the whole city down. There was no water in any of the shops, no bread, no milk, no necessity. You couldn't book a hotel, and that really quite literally starved them out, and they went back across that border into Morocco. Now, it must be said before people say, oh, they had an agreement with Morocco. There was many people here because that is the gateway to the Middle East and North Africa. There was Sudanese, there was quite a few other people from the Middle East, all in amongst that. And of course, the Spanish under the EU just put them back to where they came from. Could you imagine if we did that in Britain? But today here, the problem is that loads of the shops have now ran out of food themselves because that has gone out of date. The ferries that was bringing the stuff from mainland Spain haven't arrived yet, and most of the shops are still closed down. So when we found a place to actually get breakfast, there was about 100 youths, these immigrants, came running down the hill. One of them had a couple of loaves of bread, and the rest of them jumped on him like gannets to steal what he had obviously acquired himself. So that's how desperate it's getting. And actually, we're standing here at the moment, and you can see quite a few of these lads on the rocks out here, just behind me, and they've sort of got cornered in because just up the road on the pavilion, the promenade there's a load of army standing up there watching them, and behind that, the big police boat, the largest in the police fleet, has now started to move. So they're going to come round the back of these rocks, try to chase them off it, where they will be escorted or taken somewhere else and put back across that border just in the distance there, because that's how close this really is. And this particular part of the city would be full of Moroccans that are now Spanish, or they grew up in amongst the Spanish. But this is where the police and army are really concentrating their efforts on. And of course, there is armoured vehicles here. There is now a huge military presence on what was a former soft and, should we say, porous border. The only reason it's got to where it is because 60,000 people emptied across that border at once. There was about 66 deaths here. We're waiting on the autopsies now to see exactly how they took place. And there is now a boom in the harbour at about 180 metres out, right out into the sea, to stop them swimming basically from Morocco only a few feet into Spain and EU territory. So a lot of political discussions have taken place over this, particularly that the EU has let Spain do this, something that we can't do, but the EU have decided to push them out of their barriers back to where they were. And of course, Britain is no longer in the EU. So when the migrants come from France across, what would happen if Britain did exactly what Spain did here and pushed them back from whence they came?
Yes, Doogie. I mean, I must say, these dramatic pictures that have happened over the last 48 hours or so are concentrating the minds of politicians all over Europe. It really is throwing a focus on the entire crisis.
Well, it is. I mean, we've seen Germany last night, I think it was, the ADF gained some seats there. Giorgia Meloni, of course, started the conversation by saying she was closing that Schengen area to the Spanish. The French were starting to make the same noises. So now what we're seeing is the EU countries saying, hold on, if they get into Spain, we don't want them coming to us. And we're not going to allow you to push them into Europe because of that Schengen area, that free travel area. And that would have really affected Spanish citizens right across Europe, because many work in those countries, many travel to those countries, and if they had to start filling in visas, well, it actually does away with the whole European project. So you're completely correct, Dan. It has politically focused minds.
All right, Doogie, thanks very much indeed.
It's so sad, actually, because it looks just on the face of it, it looks idyllic, doesn't it? Beautiful blue sea, and what a crisis.
You don't want to be there at the minute.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, right, still to come. Well, beautiful is there. Is it too hot to harvest over here? We're going to hear from farmers who are battling that changing climate next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Now, it's your final chance today to get tickets to join us to celebrate Britain.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, don't miss out on that opportunity. Less than 24 hours now to grab your ticket. If you look now, you will see the QR code. Scan that and you'll get more info. And if you're listening on the radio, it's gbnews.com/celebrate.
Should be a great day next Friday. Now, it's been a summer of sunshine, as we know, but behind the scenes, it is creating a lot of challenges for the people who grow and supply our food.
And those working right across the food industry say they're having to adapt to increasingly extreme conditions.
Well, our reporter Isabel Fekulak has been to Sussex to find out more.
4 heat waves, weeks without meaningful rain, as the UK heads towards one of its hottest summers on record. The pressure is showing here in Sussex. in the fruit growing across these fields. Well, the impact of the heat is already visible here. This local grower says that if these extreme temperatures continue, this year's harvest may well be smaller in size.
I don't think there's been another period like this in the history. 3 years ago, we had a tremendous heat wave in the middle of harvest. We were unable to get the fruit to cool down quickly enough. The following year we had a very, very light crop, and the same again this year. These excessive temperatures certainly are worrying for growers.
After it leaves the field, the race against the heat continues. At TG Fruits, keeping produce cool through storage and transport has become more challenging than ever. They've been doing this for generations, but this summer is testing them like never before.
It's been very difficult this year because obviously if you think about the product growing in the field, the heat in the field, everything suffers. It's been really, really hard work to work in. It's also affected our trade. Some of the schools closed, so there was an overstock.
And it's not just happening here. Across Europe, growers are battling the same heat. Fruco has imported fresh produce for more than 50 years. They say extreme weather is becoming one of the industry's biggest challenges.
We've seen this for a few years now, that the intense temperatures during the most important part of the year for growing fruit, particularly in Northern Europe. And the consequences are quite severe, because you're talking about temperatures in Spain and in France of mid-40s, which is just far too hot for fruit. I was talking to a grower in France, and he was watching the fruit cooking almost on the trees, and it was just soul-destroying.
From local fields to supermarket shelves, the effects of this summer's heat are being felt at every stage. And with hotter summers becoming more common, the challenge of keeping food on our tables is only growing. Isabel Fekulak, GB News, Sussex.
As if farmers didn't have it bad enough already.
Exactly. They've got enough to worry about, haven't they?
They have. Our Celebrate Britain Day is on Thursday.
On Thursday the 6th.
On Thursday. I thought the 6th was Friday, but no, what do I know?
Well,
it's not a lot.
Diaries are for.
It is what diaries are for, and
anyway,
what bosses are for.
It'll be a very special day. Right now, that's it from us, but do stay tuned, because Camilla Tominey's show is with Emily Carver.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, the heat and humidity is starting to build again over the next 24 hours, but today should be pleasantly warm with some hazy sunshine. Out there this morning, though, it's a fairly chilly start, but temperatures will quickly rise in that strong August sunshine, and there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine through most of the day. So by this afternoon, temperatures will be widely higher compared to yesterday, reaching the mid-20s for many parts of England and Wales, and possibly getting quite close to 30 degrees Celsius in the southeast of England. Eastern coastal counties of England perhaps a tad cooler compared to yesterday, but still a pleasant afternoon with temperatures into the low 20s. Now, northeastern parts of Scotland should have a drier and also less breezy day compared to yesterday, but there'll still be one or two showers for Shetland and Orkney into this evening, though largely dry. A fine end to the day for many other parts of Scotland with some late spells of sunshine too. We'll run into some thicker cloud though across parts of Northern Ireland, and here just a few spots of rain developing through this afternoon and into this evening, and likewise for the Isle of Man and parts of the Irish Sea. We could see one or two spots of rain for Wales, for example, but certainly nothing heavy and fairly trivial amounts. So a fine end to the day and a warm end to the day in more southern parts of the UK. Here we'll see a dry night, generally speaking, with some clearing skies as well. But further outbreaks of rain will gradually push their way northwards into Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go into the early hours of Monday. So a pretty damp start to Monday here. Turning fairly cool in the north of Scotland underneath any clear skies, but many parts of England and Wales having a pretty warm and humid night, so quite uncomfortable for sleeping. But Monday promises to be a much hotter day for England and Wales. Plenty of hazy sunshine here and temperatures into the 30s for some. So a hot day for southeast England with potentially temperatures getting close to 35 degrees. Much cooler, much wetter for Northern Ireland and Scotland though. Outbreaks of rain or showers, and temperatures locally here not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our